Bhubaneswar, Cuttack, Puri, Paradeep Economic Region. We also acknowledge the presence of Dr. Krishna Chandra Mahapatra, Honorable Minister, Housing and Urban Development, Honorable Minister, Industries, Skill Development and Technical Education, Government of Odisha, Shri Sampat Chandra Swai, Honorable Shri Bhartruhari Mahatab, Member of Parliament, Cuttack, Honorable Dr. Samit Patra, Member of Parliament, Puri, Honorable Dr. Bibhu Prasad Tarai, Member of Parliament, Jagat Singhpur, Shri Rajiv Gauba, esteemed Member, Niti Ayog, Shri B.V.R. Subramaniam, esteemed CEO, Niti Ayog, esteemed Chief Secretary, Government of Odisha, Srimati Anu Garg, esteemed Development Commissioner, Shri Deoranjan Kumar Singh, and esteemed Additional Chief Secretary, Housing and Urban Development Department, Srimati Usha Padhi. Can we have a round of applause for the dignitaries on stage as their presence is making this day truly bright and beautiful for each one of us present here. And let's start the day with one of my favorite quotes that says, "The best way to predict future is to build one together." So here we are, unified in our thoughts and actions, plans and strategies to give 4 major cities of the state the means to grow beyond boundaries and to become a major force in the future socio-economic development of the state. Let's know more about how, as I request esteemed Chief Secretary, Government of Odisha, Srimati Anu Garg, to officially set the contest and speak about the significance of this day. Ma'am.
Good morning. Honorable Chief Minister of Orissa, Honorable Minister, Housing and Urban Development, Honorable Minister, Skill, MPs, MLAs, Member NITI, Mr. Rajiv Gauba, Chief Executive of NITI, Mr. B.V.R. Subramaniam, all senior officers, distinguished development partners, industry leaders, urban planners, representatives from academia, civil society, and all esteemed participants. It is indeed a great pleasure for me to welcome all of you to this report launching workshop on Bhubaneswar, Cuttack, Puri, Paradeep Economic Region, which will be a landmark initiative in the development story of the state. I would like to extend my gratitude at the outset to Niti Ayog for having helped us shape this report, and to also my colleague Usha and her team for having taken this forward. Now it is said that in the World Economic Forum, the latest report that has come, they say that we have entered the intelligent age where incremental progress is no longer enough. What is required is transformation. And they say now that the competition is no longer between countries. It is between functional urban regions. And why is that? It's because of what they call the agglomeration dividend. So from city management, we are moving to economic governance. This is aligning very much with the union budget, which was announced recently, where 7 city economic regions across India will be developed. And I'm sure that we have seized the early movers advantage, and we will be getting one of these in our state. Our vision, as many of you are perhaps aware, in the Vision 2036-2047, the document that has been prepared by the state under the leadership of Honorable Chief Minister, we are moving from what we are presently a $112 billion economy to, in 2036, we wish to be a $500 billion economy, and by 2047, a $1.5 trillion economy. This vision is based on 3 pillars. Pillar 1 is prosperity, samruddhi, and in which among other things like development of ports, development of airports, development of highways, development of railways. We have also suggested, and what is topical to today's workshop, is that cities will be the engines of growth. And for that, our urbanization, which at present is around 17 to 19%, we have said that by 2036, we will take it to 40%, and by 2047, by 6 to 60%. It is a very, very tall order in which, apart from having a livable cities mission and many, many other things, what is pertinent here is that we have suggested that this type of economic region where we will club cities together will be brought up, not just this one, but some more like this in different parts of the state. The other two pillars, which are also very relevant, are wellness. So we would like that when we reach a certain level of prosperity, our people should be healthy, our people should be educated, our people should be getting nutritious food. And so this is also a very important part of the vision document. And the third pillar is equity. How we would like different regions of the state to be partners, how we would like women, the workforce participation rate, the FLPR, presently at 49, we hope to take it to 70% by 2047. So these are some of the things which are there in our vision, and we are hoping that we will be able to achieve that. And one of the ways in which we will be achieving is this, what is going to be launched today. We will be having a project report which Honorable Chief Minister is launching today for Bhubaneswar, Cuttack, Puri, Paradip Economic Region, where we are clubbing all the projects in these regions, and we will be then monitoring it through a body that is going to be constituted. You will be surprised to know that at present also, this 4-city region contributes 19% to our present GDP. But by 2047, it hopes to contribute $500 billion, which means 1/3 of the GSDP that we have thought by 2047. So think of the magnitude of this meeting that we are having today, which is going to contribute to 33% of the GSDP that has been envisaged for 2047. In this, we will be focusing on the primary sector, the manufacturing sector, and the tertiary sector. So in the primary sector, which will always be dear for Orissa because of the farmers, we have development of agri-export terminals, fishery export facilities, seed villages, aquaculture parks, all these in this region. For the tertiary sector, largely Paradip, Khurda based, will be the PCPER, which is already there, textile parks, the apparel parks, hydrogen, e-methanol hubs, technical textile parks, many, many things are there. And then the tertiary driver, this will be Bhubaneswar, Cuttack, Puri, which we want to see as IT cities, as education city, Cuttack as a medical city, and Puri as a tourism hub, Cuttack as a heritage hub, skill capital. So we want all these things to be developed, and many such projects are coming up. 85 projects, 35 policy prescriptions, all are part of this report. So eventually it is not going to be about building only highways and drains. It is going to be about building classrooms where the next generation of AI experts will be trained, building factories that will power the world's green energy transition, building cultural districts where we can show that Vikas bhi, Virasat bhi. And so by integrating the spirituality of Puri the heritage of Cuttack, the technology of Bhubaneswar, and the industrial might of Paradeep, we are hoping to create a region that is pro-culture, pro-nature, and pro-innovation. And we are hoping that this will contribute not just to Samruddha Odisha at 2036, but a Viksit Bharat by 2047. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. These empowering words reminds us that BCPPER marks the beginning of a golden era for the state that will contribute significantly to Viksit Odisha 2036. Having said that, the presence of esteemed member and esteemed CEO, Niti Aayog is giving us strength and courage to give our heart and soul to the Herculean task in hand, that is BCPPER. May I request esteemed CEO Niti Aayog, Shri B.V.R. Subramaniam ji, to please share his thoughts with the House. Sir.
आदरणीय मुख्यमंत्री महोदय श्री मोहन चरण मांझी साहब, ministers on the dais, members of parliament on the dais, ministers, MPs, MLAs in the audience, dignitaries. This is a very, very happy moment because Niti Aayog is a think tank, and when any project or an idea reaches completion, it gives us immense satisfaction that finally it is seeing the light of the day. And this is one such idea which has originated from Niti. We have worked very, very closely with the government of Orissa. I thank the Chief Minister Saab, his team, the Chief Secretary, the former Chief Secretary when we began the work to bring it to this stage. And we are at this stage where today, in a few minutes from now, we will be launching the Bhubaneswar, Cuttack, Puri, Paradeep economic region plan. So I think it's a matter of great pride for us and great honor, and also a turning point in Orissa's journey to become Viksit Odisha. I think that's very important. Second, just want to highlight, we think India is a country which lives in villages. It does. Even now, 2/3 of our population lives in villages. But by 2047, half our population will be in cities, about 55%. Even a state like Orissa will gradually get more and more urbanized. And therefore, it is important that we pay attention to urban areas, because they are also not just cities where people live, they are the areas which actually add maximum to GDP growth. That is where maximum potential for employment is there in future. If you look at the country at a national level, 70 to 80% of the GDP in all the states comes from urban areas. That is very important. Therefore, there is a need to focus on urban areas if you have to make a state a developed state. So that's why we are calling them engines of growth. And that's how Niti has actually launched this initiative called Growth Hub Program, that is cities as economic regions of growth. Conceived of it, we have worked how to make an economic plan. Always cities have been looked at as things to be handed over to architects. So cities means you think of master plans, zonal plan, and permits for this and that. We do not think of cities as economic places where we have plans for the economy of the city. The ideal way, all big cities in the world, Dubai, Singapore, Tokyo, Shanghai, New York, London, they have economic plans for the cities. After the economic plan, they follow it up with master plans, zoning, land use, etc. So most of our cities don't have. We have done that, and so far, Niti Aayog has prepared 4 plans. We have released the plans for Mumbai. We have released the plan for Surat. In the month of November, we released the plan for Vishakhapatnam. And Varanasi, we handed over to the Chief Minister just last week. And this is the 5th city region in the country, which is actually getting an economic region plan for a tri-city or 4-city agglomeration. I think it's a very, very important day for all of us. The Prime Minister has laid out a vision. Honorable Modi ji has laid out a vision, Viksit Bharat, that India to become a developed nation by 2047. A country which will have a GDP of $30 trillion and a per capita income worthy of a developed nation, which is about $18,000. That is the goal he has set, and I think all of us, every officer, every individual, every citizen in the country is actually been excited by this vision, and we are working hard to achieve that goal. In line with that, Orissa, and again Niti Aayog played a major role in helping the government of Orissa. We have prepared a plan for Viksit Odisha, which was released by the Honorable Prime Minister last year in the month of June, July, in Bhubaneswar itself. There was this grand function, that was the anniversary of the government, and it was a matter of, again, great pride and satisfaction that NITI partnered with the state. And I'd like to mention one thing. Almost 15 to 17 states have prepared visions for themselves for Viksit Madhya Pradesh, Viksit Gujarat, Viksit Andhra Pradesh. The only state for which the Honorable Prime Minister has released the state vision is Odisha. That shows the attachment and the feeling he has for the state of Odisha. He has not released the plan for his own state of Gujarat. When we went to ask him, why don't you release the plan for Gujarat? He was in Gandhinagar, the global summit was going on in 24. He sat in the next room and he said, Finance Minister release karenge. So the Finance Minister released the vision. But Orissa, he made an exception. So I'm very proud of that, and as a continuation of that, we have prepared this economic region plan for Bhubaneswar, Cuttack, Puri and Paradip. The state has a vision of $1.5 trillion. Take it from now to then. So it will actually become one of the engines of growth for the country. So Odisha is not only going to develop itself, it is going to help India become Viksit Bharat. In the process, I think the role of these major cities, this mega cluster, very few parts of India have 3 cities in such close proximity. You know, you've got Bhubaneswar, your ancient city of Cuttack, ancient city of Puri, and you have a port city of Paradip. All are together. So this, rather than looking at one city, looked at this entire region as one whole. And the plan has been prepared for all of that. That's why we call it, BCPPER. Maybe the state may give a new name for it as and when it's convenient. Maybe you give an Odia name for it, for this region, so that it is remembered, goes down in history. The goal is simple, as the Chief Secretary has just mentioned. From a current GDP of about $25 billion, take it to a very simple, a $500 billion economy by 2047. Very simple. Today, this region is 20%, 1/5 of Odisha's GDP. By 2047, this will become 1/3 of Odisha's GDP broadly. Out of $1.5 trillion, $500 billion are going to help. What is $500 billion? $500 billion is actually the economy of Frankfurt or Rome or, some of the big cities in the world. You actually can't conceptualize what it is now. 25 billion on one side, 500 billion on the other side, that's 20 times. 90% of what is to come up here is not there still. It is yet to be built. So this will get transformed into a megalopolis. One of the things that Orissa misses today, although it is a great state, doing very well on many fronts, economically, culturally, it doesn't have a metropolis. This region will become the metropolis which will then drive. All big states which are doing very well have a metropolis. You have Chennai in Tamil Nadu, Bangalore in Karnataka, Mumbai and Pune, 2 in Maharashtra, Hyderabad in Telangana. I think this will actually transform itself into a global city. It's a very detailed plan. The details will be there. I think there's a presentation or whatever. There are 4 development zones, but it's detailed. And this plan is not a dream. It's practical. There are 60 plus projects, specific projects. There are 4 development zones. There are a lot of knowledge corridors. Each of them can begin work on the ground from tomorrow. That is the specific thing here. It is not broad statement. They are very specific. Do this, do this, do this, this project in education, this is in tourism, this you can do in industry, this can be done in logistics, this can be done for manufacturing. It is all laid out. And the good thing is, recognizing the work that is going on across the country, the Honorable Finance Minister in the budget just 8 days ago has announced, I will support city economic regions and said 5,000 crore grant in a challenge mode to cities. You will be one of the first off the block because you already have a plan ready. 9 days after the Finance Minister has announced it, you already have a plan. So I think I would urge the government of Orissa to go there quickly, take advantage of this because that will help you. There is a lot of investment required to make this happen. But a lot of that investment is private, more than 90%. But the 10% government investment, where will it come from? I think this grant of Government of India will be very useful. I request the Chief Secretary, under the guidance of the Chief Minister, to take advantage of it. Last words, I'll only say one thing. Implementation is the key. A plan is a lovely document if it is on a table. If you implement it, then it becomes reality. So I would urge the Honorable CM Saab, he has been so kind on many things. Please think of setting up a regional development authority for this region. You can do it through an executive order. Andhra has done it through an executive order. They have set up a Visakhapatnam economic region. Maharashtra already had an act. MMRDA, they expanded the jurisdiction. So, which covers the boundaries so that you can have a unified approach across all this. It is not city by city, all of them can be, 4 or 5 collectors, 3 or 4 municipal commissioners, all will come together under this body to establish some unit to manage the projects, establish a reporting system. And since it is a very simple, Niti Aayog will help the state set up a monitoring system so that the CM Saab can monitor once a month. That's more than enough. Just for 30 minutes, kya chal raha hai? That's it. And you will be able to actually see things happening. Let me tell you, in Bombay, in a matter of 10 months, they are actually implemented more than 50%. Andhra, which actually just, the program was launched in November, in 2.5 months, about 6 projects are already off the ground. Vizag, Bay City, some other tourism destination. So there is a sequence. Each of these projects, you issue an RFP, get a DPR prepared, tie up financing, time lagta hai. It takes 4 to 6 months. I think if we get going in another week or so, you will see this actually fructifying by December in different parts. I thank everybody for their hard work. I thank the government of Orissa for having taken the leadership. Not one word here would have been possible without the help of government of Orissa. They have helped a lot. Niti Aayog, my own team put a lot of hard work, Anna Roy and her team, and counterpart here, Usha Padi and her team. I'd like to mention her by name. Without her push and drive, this would not have come so far. I compliment them for this excellent work, and I thank everybody for this opportunity once again. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sri Subramaniam, for these golden words, and we promise to make Honorable Prime Minister proud by contributing to his dream of Bikasit Bharat with our dream of Bikasit Odisha. Can we have another round of applause, please? And with that happy note, may I request esteemed member Niti Aayog, Shri Rajiv Gaubaji, to please share his thoughtful insights for the House. Sir.
Honorable Chief Minister Odisha, Honorable Ministers, Honorable Members of Parliament, Honorable MLAs, Chief Secretary Odisha, Srimati Anu Garg, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I am extremely happy to be here today for this landmark event. I had come here on 10th June last year for a seminar prior to the launch of Odisha's Vision 2036 and Vision 2047. And Bhubaneswar, Cuttack, Puri, Paradip Growth Hub is one of the key pillars of this vision. So I commend the state government, particularly the leadership of Honorable Chief Minister, for the tremendous dynamism and speed with which the plan for this hub has been finalized, completed, and is now ready for launch and implementation. I think it's important to have some perspective of the importance of cities and the urban agenda for the realization of the vision of Viksit Bharat and Viksit Odisha. All Viksit Rajyas are important for Viksit Bharat. Cities are where human talent and capital converge. And throughout history, cities have been the crucibles of economic growth. Cities are where ideas and innovations get converted into enterprises and creating wealth and prosperity. Even during Indus Valley civilization, India had well-planned cities like Mohenjo-daro, Harappa, and Lothal, and there were thriving urban centers like Patliputra, Ujjain, Kashi, and right here in Odisha, Puri, and Cuttack in ancient and medieval India. Post-independence, however, in our development trajectory, cities somehow were relegated to a secondary position. They suffered from relative neglect. Urban infrastructure deteriorated. Migration from villages was seen as a failure of state planning. Post 2014, under the leadership of the Honorable Prime Minister, there has been a paradigm change, paradigm shift in this thinking. And Government of India has launched several large urban missions like Smart Cities, Amrut, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, urban in addition to rural, Swachh Bharat Mission, Urban Livelihoods Mission, and huge investments have been made, about 3.5 lakh crores, in the urban transportation, metro rails and bus rapid transit systems, regional rapid rail, and so on. So these initiatives represent a timely reset of governance paradigm in the country, because we are in the midst of a massive, unprecedented demographic transition, and because our aspiration to become a developed country by 2047 will depend largely, to a great extent, on unlocking the potential of our cities. India has been slow to urbanize. Our urban population is only around 35%. I think in Odisha, it is even less. It's less than 20%. You know, it's important to have the global perspective in this regard. Japan is over 90% urban. USA, Australia, Brazil, they are all over 80% urban. China, which had a lower urbanization rate than India in 1970, is now around 2/3 urban. But this is now, we are changing, India is changing rapidly, we are urbanizing rapidly. Another demographic shift which is taking place is that our total fertility rate nationally has come down to around 1.9. That is below replacement level. But our population will stabilize only by around 2060 at about 165 crores. And most of this additional population will live in cities. So India will be, you know, as was mentioned earlier, will be about 50% urban by 2050, and Odisha, I think, is projected to be 40% by 2047. So our urban population will grow from 50 crores at present to 85 crores. So therefore, cities are going to be extremely, extremely important, and we have to cater to the growing need of infrastructure and quality of life. And therefore, recognizing the importance of tapping the economic growth potential of cities for Viksit Bharat, Niti Aayog has launched the Growth Hub for City Region initiative. The objective is to adopt a holistic approach for economic development of 20 cities and their surrounding regions, help them prepare and implement economic plans. I'm happy to note that Odisha was among the first to join this endeavor, and this region is amongst the first 5 which have been taken up for this exercise, besides Surat, Mumbai, Varanasi, and Visakhapatnam. In last year's budget, 1 lakh crore Urban Challenge Fund was announced to incentivize cities to undertake urban reforms and to develop cities as growth hubs. And as CEO mentioned just now, this year's budget has an allocation of 5,000 crores per city economic region over 5 years for growth hubs. And you are well positioned to take advantage of that, being among the first movers. So the growth hub framework has been developed after studying many global models. Adopting this framework will require certain critical changes in urban planning and management. Firstly, there is a regional approach that transcends administrative boundaries of a municipal corporation. Second, economic planning to leverage the strengths and functional interdependencies of the city and its contiguous areas. Third, economic rather than land use planning, focusing on livability, inclusivity, and long-term sustainability. And fourth, a well-structured and empowered governance framework to ensure time-bound implementation, overcoming sectoral silos. The BCPPER plan is based on this approach, and it creates a comprehensive roadmap for a region which is home to nearly 17% of Odisha's population and accounts for, I think, about 19 to 20% of the state's GDP. And the plan envisages the region to grow from about 22.4 billion US dollars at present to a $500 billion economy by 2047, which is more than 20-fold increase. No doubt it's a very, very huge target, but it is achievable, it is doable. There are global examples of similar transitions having been accomplished in this kind of a time frame. So this plan seeks to leverage the extensive coastline and fertile riverine areas for aquaculture, the immense tourism potential of cultural and heritage treasures like Puri's Jagannath Temple, Konark's own Sun Temple, Chilka Lake, and so on. The Paradip Port and BCPPER and industrial estates in Jagatsinghpur and Khordha for port-led and industrial development, and the network of knowledge institutions, including the IIT and AIMS, to establish an education corridor. You have identified individual projects under this plan covering all sectors like agriculture, aquaculture, IT innovation hubs, downstream industrial estates, tourism circuits, and integrated transport systems. But I think the most important piece is to have facilitative policies and reforms. I think those have also been identified to promote ease of doing business and deregulation for long-term growth. As Subramaniam also mentioned, I think the plan is in place, but implementation would be the key. So there is a three-tier governance framework here, the empowered group of ministers for high-level policy direction, the high-power steering committee for state-level coordination, and the regional development, economic region development authority for operational implementation. I would urge the state government to put in place this institutional framework at the earliest so that implementation can commence right in earnest. And all these three tiers will have to work with single-minded focus on time-bound actions and implementation. I think for attracting and grounding investments, which is vital for success of this plan, you will need to pursue the deregulation agenda, which I think Odisha is already doing, but it needs to be implemented and pursued with full vigor, and embrace trust-based governance, or Jan Vishwas, as the Prime Minister has articulated it. All unnecessary compliances, licenses, frequent renewals, unnecessary and random inspections, I think they need to be removed, lock, stock, and barrel. So while you have the three-tier governance framework in place, I think the most important priority should be to improve parallelly the quality of life in the cities, the quality of public services. Because for people to come and invest in cities, you have to improve the quality of life. And I think here the city governments have to be equipped to play the most pivotal role. We do not have city governments in the true sense of the term in most parts of the country, despite 74th Constitutional Amendment Act devolving 18 functions. In practice, urban local bodies, the municipal corporations and municipalities in most parts of the country, they have control only over sanitation and waste management. Basic services like water, transport, electricity, and urban planning are handled by agencies other than the municipal corporations, by state-level parastatals or even separate city agencies, which are not organically linked to municipal corporations. If you contrast this with New York, London, or other big cities, the municipal corporations, the mayors, they have executive power over all municipal agencies, including water supply, transport, planning, and even policing. We do not have that. I think that needs to change. We need city governments in true sense of the term. We need mayors who have 5-year tenures and who are directly elected. That is how it is in most parts of the world. So it is high time to have fully empowered city governments which have the responsibility and accountability for all civic functions and services, including planning, water supply, fire services, and traffic management. Cities also need more revenues, and for this you have to rationalize property taxes and charge user fees that are aligned with full cost recovery. The state finance commissions should ensure adequate fiscal transfers from the states to the cities. This will also enable them to tap the municipal bond market, which is currently it is almost non-existent. It is 0.02% of GDP in India as compared to 15% in the United States. Most cities follow single-use zoning and have highly restrictive building norms like FSI, which inflates land and housing costs. I think we should relax the restrictive floor area ratios and embrace vertical development around transit hubs, and zoning and regulatory relaxations for affordable housing should be an integral part of the master plans. The success of this regional economic plan is crucial for realizing the ambition of Viksit Odisha. I am optimistic that the state government will implement this transformative blueprint with urgency, and I would urge that this model be replicated in other potential city regions. I think deregulation and transformative urban governance reforms should be undertaken to unlock the full potential of cities and realize the vision of Viksit Odisha. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rigaba, for reminding us that it's going to be a glorious journey to transform 4 cities that we Odias are truly proud of into brand ambassadors that will show us the first glimpse of how cities in the Viksit Odisha 2036 gonna look like. Can we have a round of applause for Niti Aayog for supporting us and giving us all the courage in this wonderful journey. Ladies and gentlemen, today the shining cities of the state tells the story of our steady development. Our Honorable Minister, Housing and Urban Development definitely have a very significant role to play. So congratulating him for this outstanding success, may I request you, sir, to please share your thoughts with the House. Dr. Krishna Chandra Mahapatra.
धन्यवाद। आज उपस्थित थिबा ओडिशार लोकप्रिय मुख्यमंत्री मान्यवर मोहन चरण माझी महोदय, मान्यवर शिल्प मंत्री संपचरण स्वाई महाशय, मान्यवर सांसद जगतसिंहपुर श्री विभुदत्त तराई महाशय, पुरीर मान्यवर सांसद श्री संबित पात्र महाशय, कटकर सांसद मान्यवर भर्तृहरि महताब महाशय, नीति आयोगर मेंबर श्री राजीव गौबा एवं नीति आयोगर श्री BVR सुब्रमण्यम CEO नीति आयोग, उपस्थित थिबा मान्यवर विधायिका महाशय एवं भुवनेश्वर मेयर महाशय, कटक मेयर महाशय, मुख्य शासन सचिव श्रीमती अनुगर महाशय, डेवलपमेंट कमिश्नर देवदत्त सिंह महाशय एवं अतिरिक्त शासन सचिव HNDUD उषा पाड़ी महाशय, समस्त जिलापाल कटक, पुरी, खोर्धा, जगतसिंहपुर एवं अन्य समस्त वरेण्य ऑफिसर्स एवं नेतृत्व, विभिन्न बुद्धिजीवी समस्त को बहुत बहुत अभिनंदन, शुभेच्छा। आज जो पुरी, कटक, भुवनेश्वर, पारादीप BCPPER आज जो पुस्तक उन्मोचित होची, यह आम समस्त ओडिशार भविष्यत एक निर्णायक भूमिका नवाक जाउछि। यशस्वी मुख्यमंत्री जो परिकल्पना करिसेंती 2036 मसीहा सुधा ओडिशा को एक विकसित राज्य रे परिणत करिवा पाई एवं यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जो लक्ष्य रही विकसित भारत गठन करिवा पाई 2047 मसीहा सुधा तेणु ये अर्थनैतिक अभिवृद्धि करिवा पाई ये एक सहायक हेबो तेणु ये बहु उपयोगी आज यशस्वी मुख्यमंत्री जो भली भाव में ओडिशा विगत दिन में विकास हवा कथा बा अर्बानाइजेशन जी बढ़िया कथा ता बढ़ी नहीं एबे आम लोकप्रिय मुख्यमंत्री मोहन चरण माझी आसिला परे ओडिशा रे अर्बान ग्रोथ को अधिक प्राधान्य देइछंती अर्बान विभाग को मध्य प्राधान्य देइछंती जो भली भाव में ओडिशा रे अर्बानाइजेशन बढ़िया कथा जदि आमे केंद्रीय हार को देखा मात्र 17-18% ओडिशा रे थिला बेले भारत वर्ष रे ताहा 36% रु ऊर्ध्व अछि तेणु एबे यशस्वी मुख्यमंत्री अर्बानाइजेशन को बढ़ाइबा पाई आम ओडिशा रे 28 नुआ एनएससी एवं 7टी म्युनिसिपालिटी तथा पुरी को एक कॉर्पोरेशन घोषणा करिसेंती जहाँ कार्यकारी हेबा को जाउछि अर्बानाइजेशन बढ़िबा को जाउछि आगामी दिन रे ये अर्बानाइजेशन को केमती 40% पर्यंत वृद्धि हो पारिबो तापाई मध्य यशस्वी मुख्यमंत्री लक्ष्य रखिछंती सेतिपई विभाग को मध्य निर्देश दैछंती आ विभाग सेतिपई कार्य मध्य करि चलिछि ए जो अर्थनैतिक कॉरिडोर बनिबा को जाउछि या द्वारा हमर अभिवृद्धि घटिबो प्लानिंग इंटीग्रेटेड प्लानिंग हो पारिबो जो बड़ी भाव में धरे जो आमे पूरी पीकेडीए अथॉरिटी अछि भुवनेश्वर डेवलपमेंट अथॉरिटी अच्छी कटक रे कटक डेवलपमेंट अथॉरिटी अच्छी पारादीप डेवलपमेंट अथॉरिटी अच्छी ये निजस्व ये काम कर इंटीग्रेटेड ना एमान को समस्त को मिसेकी काम करबा पाई ए विभाग पूरा संपूर्ण भाव में इंटीग्रेटेड भाव में काम करिवो डेवलपमेंट केमते शिल्पर विकास हबो शहरीकरण विकास हबो संस्कृतिर विकास हबो ऐतिह्यर विकास हबो ये पाई पूरा विभाग काम करिवो एवं ताकू 2036 मसीहा सुधा जो विकसित ओडिशा गठन करने माननीय मुख्यमंत्री आशा रखिंट ताकू सी सहयोग करिवो एवं विकसित ओडिशा निश्चित भाव में 2036 और 2047 रे यशस्वी मुख्य प्रधानमंत्री की जो परिकल्पना रही ताहा या सहायक हेबो मु आशा करुच्ची ये विभाग दीर्घदिन 8-9 मास धरी आपरे तर्जमा करछंती एवं नीति आयोगकर सहयोग रे आज आहा सफल हेबा को जाउची निश्चित भाव में ये आम ओडिशा पई एक उपयोगी हेबो आउ ये आगामी ओडिशार भविष्यत जीडीपी निश्चित भाव में ग्रोथ करिवो एवं ये खाली जे एठी सीमित रहबनी आपरे ओडिशार विभिन्न बड़ बड़ जिला को भी मध्य आमे एभली भाव में आगो को बनेबा को जिवु एवं ओडिशार विकास रे ये सहायक हबो मु मंच रे बसथिबा समस्त अतिथिवृंद को धन्यवाद दूची सामने समस्त उपस्थित सदीबुज को धन्यवाद दे मोर वक्तव्य को विराम दूची वंदे उत्कल जननी भारत माता की जय।
कोटी धन्यवाद माननीय मंत्री महोदय आपणकर ए सशक्त शब्द आमको शक्ति दौची कि आमे ए बड़ स्वप्न बीसीपीपीआर को सफल करिबारे समर्थ हबु। Ladies and gentlemen, let us now unveil the gateway to future as I request Honorable Chief Minister Shri Mohan Charan Majhi to please unveil the BCPPER report. The moment that marks new beginnings, newer opportunities, a bright and brilliant future for the state. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together as Honorable Chief Guest, Honorable Chief Minister Odisha Shri Mohan Charan Majhi unveils the BCPPER report. I was expecting a louder round of applause, everyone. Please give it up for the bright future of the state. With 4 cities shining, that is Bhubaneswar, Cuttack, Puri and Paradeep. Thank you, sir, for doing the honor. And let us now show you a very special audiovisual that will tell you volumes about how BCPPER is going to transform lives and create newer opportunities. Can we have the audiovisual, please?
India's growth story is being reshaped through well-planned cities and strong economic regions. guided by the vision of Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi, who has emphasized that urban planning will determine the destiny of India in Amrit Kal. Odisha is taking a decisive step forward. Under the leadership of Honorable Chief Minister Shri Mohan Charan Majhi, Odisha presents the economic plan for the Bhubaneswar, Cuttack, Puri, Paradeep Economic Region (BCPPER). Anchoring nearly 19% of Odisha's economy, BCPPER is envisioned as the core growth engine driving Viksit Odisha by 2047, aligned with India's journey towards a developed nation. The plan lays a clear roadmap for port-led industrialization, future-ready manufacturing, tourism and cultural circuits, innovation hubs, and climate-resilient urban growth. With 80+ strategic projects and 30+ policy interventions, BCPPER will unlock investment, generate high-value employment, strengthen exports, and position Odisha as Eastern India's global trade gateway. Rooted in heritage, driven by innovation, powered by leadership, BCPPER, building the economic future of Odisha for a stronger India.
The audiovisual says it all. Can we have an overwhelming round of applause for Bhubaneswar, Cuttack, Puri, Paradeep Economic Region? Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, today the development of Odisha is being considered exemplary, one of its kind, because we are breaking barriers with pro-people policies, bringing positive change at the grassroots level with our futuristic programs. And behind this truly inspiring journey is the leadership of our Honorable Chief Minister, who represents simplicity, humility, hard work, and love for people, and a strong commitment for Viksit Odisha 2036 that says, all for development, development for all. Amidst your overwhelming round of applause, may I request our Chief Guest, Honorable Chief Minister Odisha, Shri Mohan Charan Majhi, to please share his thoughts with the House. Sir.
जय जगन्नाथ मान्यवर मंत्री डॉक्टर कृष्णचंद्र महापात्र महोदय, मान्यवर मंत्री श्रीयुक्त संपत चंद्र स्वाई महोदय, मान्यवर सांसद कटक श्रीयुक्त भत्तुहरी महता महोदय, मान्यवर सांसद जगतसिंहपुर श्रीयुक्त विभु प्रसाद तराई महोदय, मान्यवर सांसद पुरी डॉक्टर संबित पात्र महोदय, नीति आयोग के मेंबर श्री राजीव गौबा महोदय, नीति आयोग के चीफ एग्जीक्यूटिव ऑफिसर BVR सुब्रमण्यम महोदय, चीफ सेक्रेटरी श्रीमती अनु गर्ग, डेवलपमेंट कमिश्नर कम एडिशनल चीफ सेक्रेटरी श्रीयुक्त देवरंजन कुमार सिंह, एडिशनल चीफ सेक्रेटरी श्रीमती उषा पाढ़ी, नीति आयोग से आए हुए वरिष्ठ अधिकारीगण, उद्योग जगत के प्रतिनिधिगण, मीडिया फ्रेंड्स, सबको मेरा नमस्कार। और वहाँ भी बैठे हुए हमारा विधायकगण, कटक भुवनेश्वर की मेयर, आप सबको जगन्नाथ जी की पावन भूमि में स्वागत करता हूँ। आज नीति आयोग के सीईओ और उनके टीम बहुत ही सही समय पर पधारे हैं, क्योंकि एक हफ्ते पहले केंद्रीय बजट लोकसभा में प्रस्तुत हुआ है और 2 हफ्ते बाद ओडिशा का बजट विधानसभा में भी प्रस्तुत होगा। इसी संदर्भ में नीति आयोग की सलाह और फीडबैक हमारे बजट बनाने की प्रक्रिया में सहायक निश्चित रूप से बहुत अच्छा होगा। आज हम लोग एक विशेष परियोजना की शुभारंभ के लिए एकत्रित हुए हैं। ओडिशा की विकास यात्रा में ये परियोजना मील का पत्थर साबित होगा। ये प्रोजेक्ट ओडिशा के आने वाले दिनों में राज्य के भविष्य को बदल देगा। इस शुभ अवसर पर मैं यहाँ उपस्थित सबको स्वागत करता हूँ। नीति आयोग के सदस्य श्री राजीव गौबा जी, नीति आयोग के एग्जीक्यूटिव ऑफिसर श्री BVR सुब्रमण्यम जी और नीति आयोग के सब अधिकारियों को मैं स्वतंत्र रूप से धन्यवाद देता हूँ। आप लोगों ने बहुत शिद्दत से भुवनेश्वर, कटक, पारादीप, पुरी BCPPER इकोनॉमिक प्लान की रिपोर्ट बनाए हैं। मैं आप सबको शुक्रिया अदा करता हूँ। इसी साल 2025-26 के बजट में हम BCPPER की परिकल्पना किए थे, क्योंकि हमारी सरकार एक ट्रांसफॉर्मेटिव जर्नी के राह पर चल पड़ने की ठान ली थी। इस जर्नी में BCPPER प्रोजेक्ट एकदम सटीक बैठता है। खुशी की बात है 2026-27 के केंद्रीय बजट में BCPPER के लिए प्रावधान किया गया है। इसके तहत देश के विभिन्न प्रांतों में सिटी इकोनॉमिक रीजन CR बनाया जाएगा। हर CR को विकसित करने के लिए 5,000 करोड़ रुपया दिया जाएगा। ओडिशा सरकार की ये परिकल्पित योजना सरकार की तरफ से सहायता प्राप्त हुआ है। इसको कहते हैं डबल इंजन की सरकार। इसके लिए मैं माननीय प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी और अर्थमंत्री निर्मला सीतारमण जी को अपना आभार व्यक्त करता हूँ। भुवनेश्वर, कटक, पुरी और पारादीप राज्यों के सबसे बड़े और आर्थिक दृष्टिकोण से सबसे ज़्यादा महत्वपूर्ण वो क्षेत्र है। भौगोलिक दृष्टि से भी ये 4 शहर राज्यों के अर्थनीति का ग्रोथ इंजन साबित होगा। इसलिए ये 4 शहर को आधारभूत संरचना के साथ जोड़ना बहुत ही जरूरी था। अभी यह क्षेत्र ही ओडिशा के अर्थनीति को 19% कंट्रीब्यूट करता है। 2025 तक इस रीजन की अर्थनीति $22.38 बिलियन है। हम इस 4 शहरों को एक कॉमन ग्रोथ प्लान के साथ जोड़ रहे हैं। ये भी शहर अभी एक सिनर्जी के साथ अभिवृद्धि का केंद्र बनेंगे। 2027 तक सिर्फ इस रीजन की इकोनॉमी $500 बिलियन तक पहुंचेगा। दिस रीजन इज गोइंग टू बी ए न्यू स्टार इन द ग्रोथ स्काई ऑफ इंडिया। इन 4 शहर में हर एक का अपना अपना विशेष सामर्थ्य है। भुवनेश्वर की टेक्नोलॉजी और कटक का बिजनेस ट्रेडिशन, पुरी की सांस्कृतिक गरिमा और पारादीप के बंदरगाहों, इन सब का जब समन्वय होगा तो ये एक बड़ा ग्रोथ इंजन बनेगा। सिर्फ ओडिशा का नहीं, सारे भारत के अभिवृद्धि का एक केंद्र बनेगा हमारा BCPPER। इस इकोनॉमिक रीजन में हर शहर के लिए हमारी स्वतंत्र योजना है। इसमें मेटल डाउनस्ट्रीम, बायोटेक्नोलॉजी, टेक्सटाइल, हैंडलूम, केमिकल्स, एग्रीकल्चर एंड फिशरीज, पर्यटन, एजुकेशन, आईटी और बंदरगाह जैसे क्षेत्रों में 80 से ज़्यादा प्रकल्प और 30 से ज़्यादा पॉलिसी इनिशिएटिव का प्रस्ताव है। ग्रामीण और शहरी क्षेत्र के संतुलन के लिए कृषि प्राणी संपद और कृषि निर्यात के लिए प्राथमिकता दिया जाएगा। 4 क्षेत्रों के विकास के लिए जरूरी रिफॉर्म्स किया जाएगा। ये 4 क्षेत्र है विश्व स्तरीय क्रीड़ा शहर, प्रोडक्शन क्लस्टर, सेक्टरल नॉलेज कॉरिडोर और कला और नवसृजन क्षेत्र। BCPPER के साथ केंद्र सरकार के इस बजट के तहत 2 बड़ी इनिशिएटिव ओडिशा के विकास को 4 चांद लगाएगा। एक है रेयर अर्थ कॉरिडोर, जिससे सेमीकंडक्टर और एडवांस्ड इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स जैसे कटिंग एज टेक्नोलॉजी में ओडिशा देश का एक हब बनेगा। इसके साथ ईस्ट वेस्ट कॉरिडोर, जो बंगाल से शुरू होकर ओडिशा से जाते हुए महाराष्ट्र और गुजरात तक पहुंचेगा। इससे लॉजिस्टिक्स में हमें और भी एडवांटेज मिलेगा। पूरे देश की ट्रांसपोर्टेशन कॉरिडोर में हम जुड़ जाएंगे। हम ये सब जो पदक्षेप ले रहे हैं, हमारा एकमात्र लक्ष्य है हमारा बच्चों के लिए सुनहरा भविष्य बनाना, 2036 में समृद्ध ओडिशा बनाना और 2047 में विकसित भारत बनाना। हम आज जो करेंगे कल वो बड़ा होकर हमारा बच्चों के काम आएगा। इस साल के केंद्रीय बजट में भी 2027 के लिए बनाया गया है इट्स ए बजट फॉर द फ्यूचर। जब हम आज अच्छा काम करेंगे हमारा कल भी अच्छा होगा। इसी सोच के साथ आइए हम सब मिलकर BCPPER इकोनॉमिक प्लान को सफल बनाएं और इस रीजन को ओडिशा की इकोनॉमिक ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन का एक सुदृढ़ स्तंभ बनाएं। आज बड़ सौभाग्यर दिन निश्चित भाव में आम समस्तंकर पाई आमर विजन 2047 आम विजन 2036 में समृद्ध ओडिशा तथा विकसित ओडिशा एवं 2047 में विकसित भारत, ये जो स्वप्न देखिकी एवं योजना करी आम विजन को आखि आगे रखिकी बहुत बड़ मिशन रे आम आगू जाऊँगी। एवं से प्रथमरू आमर यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी जेभली भाव में आमको आम ओडिशा को भारत वर्षर पूर्व क्षेत्र को गुरुत्व आरोप करिसेंती, पूर्वोदयर कथा कहिसेंती एवं ओडिशा विकसित भारतर ग्रोथ इंजिन है काम करिवो। अर्थनैतिक दृष्टिकोण आम श्रेष्ठ भारत वर्षर 5टी राज्य भितर आम प्रवेश करिबा। आउ ये काम को पूरा करिबा पाई निश्चित भाव में केंद्र सरकारंकर सहयोग तथा डबल इंजिन हिसाब रे आमको बहुत तेजी से अर्थात बहुत स्पीड रे आमको दौड़ापी पड़ो। और से दृष्टिकोण आज निश्चित भाव में मोदी जी थरे नुह 2 थर नुह माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी 7 थर आम ओडिशा को आसी। आगामी दिन में आसबार कार्यक्रम अच्छी एवं जो विजन नहीं कि आम जाऊँ आउ केंद्र बजेट जेभली भाव में आज आमको सहायता प्रदान करुच्ची। ये पर्यटन क्षेत्र को अग्राधिकार देवा हो बा रेयर करी माने पूर्वटन रे जो आमर रेयर मिनेराल्स अच्छी क्रिटिकल मिनेराल्स अच्छी ताऊपरे किभली भाव में आम तार व्यवहार केमती करि परिबा। आमे शिल्पायन करुछंती उत्कर्ष ओडिशा, आमे क्रॉप डाइवर्सिफिकेशन करुछंती, जो कृषि क्षेत्र गोटे बहुत बड़ क्षेत्र किंतु आम राज्य जीडीपी रे तार भूमिका बहुत कम रोच। और से कृषि अणकृषि एवं ताहा सहित आमे किभଳି भाବରେ क्रॉप डाइवर्सिफिकेशन करी आमକୁ आगକୁ बढ़िबा ई प्रकार समस्त योजना को नेकरी आज आमे आगକୁ बढ़ुछंती किंतु सहरर विकास बिना आ सहरांचल को फोकस करी जदि आमर इकोनॉमी एवं आमर प्रत्येक योजना को आमे सहरर विकास सहित न जोड़िबा ताहले आमर अर्थनीतिर अभिवृद्धि एवं लोकं को कर्म जोगैबा काम जोगैबा जॉब क्रिएशन करैबा ये निश्चित भाव में आमको कौटी ना कौटी बाधा सृष्टि करि पारे आउ ताकू आधार करिकरी जो आमे चिंता करिथिले जे जेते बड़े आमर विजन को आखि आगे रखिकी आमे केमिति बढ़िबा आउ सेथिपाई आमे ये BCPPER इकोनॉमिक प्लान जो आमे बनैथिले सेथिपाई ये गोटे बहुत बड़ आमको अर्थनैतिक दृष्टिकोण आम अभिवृद्धि को ओडिशा को बहुत आग को नहीं पारिबो एमिति अनेक राज्यर अनेक सहर 1 2 3 सहर को मिसैकरी जोड़िकरी अनेक एक इकोनॉमिक रीजन करा जाइछि जेमिति आपंकर हैदराबाद सहित सिकंदराबाद या को जोड़िकी एक ग्रेटर हैदराबाद करा जाइछि आज यदि आम देखा ताहले 80% रेवेन्यू दौछि केवल ये 2टी सहर अर्थात ग्रेटर हैदराबाद बाकी ओनली 20% आपंकर ग्रामांचल रूरल एरिया रू आपको जी रेवेन्यू मात्र ओनली 20% से भली भाव में अनेक सहर अच्छी से सहर गुड़िक देशर जीडीपी ठारू मध्य बड़ आम देश भी जदि आम चिंता करवा ताहले आमर मुंबई आउ दिल्ली मुंबई आउ दिल्ली एमिति एक सहर सामान्य अनेक देशर तांको जीडीपी ठारू मध्य बड़ एमिति आपंकर सहर अच्छी जदि आम अमेरिका कथा चिंता करवा ताहले न्यूयॉर्क कथा जदि देखिबा ये ऑस्ट्रेलियार जीडीपी ठारू मध्य बड़ एणु एमिति आमको से स्तर में आमको मध्य आमर अर्थनीति को दौड़ाई पड़ो सहरांचल विकास करने पड़ो एवं से सहरांचल भितर आमे आमको गोटे बड़ ये सुविधा मिली जो थे कि आमे पारादीप ये होची आमर कार्गो पाई बंदरगाह एभली एक क्षेत्र जहाँकि आज भारत वर्ष में आमे प्रथम स्थान अधिकार करिसंती ये कार्गो रे गत वर्ष ए वर्ष लगातार एबे भी आमर काम बढ़ी चली एवं तार संप्रसारण मध्य होची पारादीपर आगामी दिन में पारादीप को आउ कई छुई पारिबे नहीं आ पारादीप को बेस करी केमिकल्स पेट्रोकेमिकल्स फर्टिलाइजर स्टील इंटीग्रेटेड स्टील अनेक प्रकार इंडस्ट्री जिते बड़े पारादीप तार रिजन भितर आसी पहुँची जाउछंती डाउनस्ट्रीम आंसिलरी IOCL रो 80,000 कोटी टंकार प्रपोजाल पारादीप रे ये भली भाव में आज आमको बड़ अपॉर्चुनिटी आज मिली आमको सबुठार बड़ आवश्यकता होची प्रथम जे आमर इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर को आमर भित्तिभूमि को आम आगु को केमती नहीं पारिबा आ सेथिरे आपंकर जो एक भुवनेश्वर कैपिटल रीजन रिंग रोड आमको केंद्र सरकार अप्रूवाल कर देइछंती 8,400 कोटी रु अधिक टंकार या द्वारा यार क्षेत्र आहरी बहुत प्रशस्त हम आमर भुवनेश्वर ग्रेटर भुवनेश्वर तैयारी हेब से खोर्धा ठू आरंभ करिकी खोर्धा जटणी ये सब मिसीज कटक पारा कटक पर आप चौद्वार कटक आप संप्रसारित होकर पलैज आपंकर बांकी पर्यंत सारा भुवनेश्वर मिसीज भुवनेश्वर भितर आहरी स्मार्ट सिटी तैयारी हेब आईटी आसीबो सेमिकंडक्टर आसी सेमिकंडक्टर आसी आईटी आसी अपारेल टेक्सटाइल केमिकल्स पेट्रोकेमिकल्स ता सहित डाटा सेंटर इत्यादि इत्यादि अनेक योजना को आम हाथ आगे हाथ में रखी जहाँकि आमको एक अर्थनैतिक अभिवृद्धि दृष्टिकोण एम्प्लॉई जॉब सहित क्रिएशन करी आमको एक ग्रेटर भुवनेश्वर जो परिकल्पना करा जाइछि BCPPER इकोनॉमिक जो प्लान आम करिसंती ता द्वारा ये हैदराबाद परी ये भुवनेश्वर मध्य दौड़िबो आउ सेतिपाई सौभाग्य जे आमे योजना आरंभ करिसंती प्लानिंग आमे केंद्र को पठेइछंती अनुरोध करिसंती केंद्र सरकार डबल इंजिन सरकार हेतुवा कारण ताकू रेस्पॉन्स एते हाई स्पीड रे हैला जे आमको एथर ही बजेट रे आमको एथर अंतर्भुक्त करा जाइछि एवं गोटिए गोटिए CR पाई आपंकर 5,000 कोटी टंकार प्राथमिक स्तर रे ये व्यवस्था मध्य करा जाइछि एनु निश्चित भाव रे जेते बेले आमे सिटी इकोनॉमिक रीजन बा CER ये बजेट रे जेते बेले केंद्र अर्थमंत्री निर्मला सीतारमण जी माननीय यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी दिग्दर्शन रे से याकु तैयारी करिसंती सेते बेले एभली भाव रे किछि शहर को गोटे प्रदेश रो जोड़िले से प्रदेश रो इकोनॉमिक को आगो को नबा पई अर्थनीति को सुदृढ़ करबा सहित भारत वर्षर इकोनॉमिक को आगो को बढ़िबा पई बहुत बड़ गोटाए ये गोटाए अपॉर्चुनिटी आ ताहा आज आमको मिली आमे करिया पई जाउछंती बहुत बहुत मु धन्यवाद देवी आमर नीति आयोग रो आमर टीम को नीति आयोग के जो टीम वहाँ आए हैं मैं आप सबको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देता हूँ कि आपने हमारा प्रपोजल को रिसीव किया और आज डिटेल प्रोजेक्ट रिपोर्ट भी आपने बना के जैसे आज उनका शुरुआत किया है इस प्लान को आगे लेने के लिए इम्प्लीमेंट करने के लिए निश्चित रूप से मैं आभार प्रकट करता हूँ हमारा नीति आयोग के मेंबर राजीव गौबा जी और CEO BBR सुब्रमण्यम जी आपने बहुत मेहनत करते हुए और उड़ीसा को जैसे पूर्व क्षेत्र का पूर्वोदय का बारे में आप बहुत ही चिंता करते हुए हमारा विजन को सामने लाते हुए सही समय पर आपका बजट केंद्र का बजट प्लेस हुआ हमारा बजट प्लेस होने के लिए तैयारी हो रहा है इसी बीच में आप आते हुए जैसे हमारा बजट को स्ट्रेंथन करने के लिए और हम जैसे सोचे हैं कि अगले 2036 में $500 बिलियन की इकोनॉमी होंगे इसी आधार पर हम काम करने शुरू कर दिए तो आप जैसे प्लस करते हुए हमारा प्लान को हमारा प्रपोजल को आप इतना जल्दी हम तो सोचे भी नहीं थे क्या हम कितने जल्दी से हम जाएंगे क्या करेंगे क्या नहीं दिल्ली जाने के लिए हमको समय भी नहीं मिला आपको और केंद्र में प्रधानमंत्री जी को और अर्थमंत्री को हम ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा भेंट करते हुए और रिक्वेस्ट करेंगे लेकिन आप स्वयं चले हैं वहाँ इतना बड़ा मुहूर्त अपॉर्चुनिटी निश्चित रूप से हम बहुत ही भाग्यशाली हैं हम लोग और हमको इतना सपोर्ट मिला और काम करने के लिए निश्चित रूप से हमारा मन में जो हम चाहते हैं आपका मन में वो आ जाता है और वो प्रकट होते हुए हमको सफल कराने में आगे बढ़ाने के लिए जो ताकत हमको मिलती है निश्चित रूप से हम ही निश्चित रूप से ग्रोथ इंजन बनेंगे उड़ीसा विकसित भारत को आगे लेने के लिए धन्यवाद भारत माता की जय वंदे उत्कल जननी
कोटि धन्यवाद माननीय मुख्यमंत्री महोदय आपके ये सशक्त शब्द BCPPER के इस बड़े यात्रा में हमारा मार्गदर्शन निश्चित रूप से करेंगे कैन वी हैव अनदर राउंड ऑफ अप्लॉज फॉर ऑनरेबल चीफ मिनिस्टर श्री मोहन चरण मांझी Ladies and gentlemen, we have small tokens of gratitude for dignitaries on stage. May I request Honorable Minister Dr. Krishna Chandra Mahapatra and esteemed ACA Srimati Usha Padhi ji to please do the honor of felicitating Honorable Chief Minister Shri Mohan Charan Maji for his graceful presence for his support in making this day truly special and bright and beautiful for each one of us. That's a happy sight on stage as Honorable Minister Dr. Krishna Chandra Mahapatra is wrapping Honorable Chief Minister in the warmth of our handloom and hospitality, and esteemed ACS is presenting the beautiful silver filigree that my city, Cuttack, is world famous for. We also have a GI tag. You got to say this when you're a Cuttackiya. And we request Team Urban to present tokens of gratitude to each of the dignitaries on stage, because Bhubaneswar, Cuttack, Puri and Paradeep are towns we Odiyas have grown up admiring and traveling. So seeing them being transformed into futuristic cities is a dream of every Odia. And this token of love is a constant reminder of the commitment of the dignitaries who will have a significant role to play in making BCPPER a grand success. Can we have a round of applause for the dignitaries on stage? The stage looks so enlightened right now with their kind presence. And thank you, host team, for being so generous and thoughtful in picking right gifts for dignitaries. And may I request esteemed ACA Srimati Usha Padhi to officially propose vote of thanks, please, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone. Honorable Chief Minister Mahoday, जार मार्गदर्शन रे ओडिशा विकास पत्रे आगे जाउची आम टीम अर्बन रो परिवार मुख्य माननीय मंत्री HNUD आमर अनुरोध रक्षा करके आज उपस्थित थिबा Honorable MPs of Cuttack, Puri and Jagatsinghpur राज्य रे अधिक निवेश आनिबा पई सबु बेले प्रतिश्रुतिबद्ध आमर हॉनरेबल मिनिस्टर इंडस्ट्रीज आमर अनुरोध रक्षा करके उपस्थित थिबा विभिन्न अंचल रो आस्थिबा हॉनरेबल MLAs हॉनरेबल मेयर्स ऑफ भुवनेश्वर एंड कटक जे आमर अर्बन विभाग रो मुखिया माने आमर अनुरोध रक्षा करके आस्थिबा विभिन्न अर्बन लोकल बॉडीज रा चेयरपर्सन्स आउ तांकर वाइस चेयरपर्सन्स एंड अधिकारी वृंद आमर डिस्टिंग्विश्ड पैनलिस्ट उपस्थित CEO नीति आयोग honorable member नीति आयोग who have been instrumental in helping the state to release economic plan, our team leader CS madam, our supervising officer DC sir, other secretaries and colleagues who have come from various departments, commissioners of ULBs and other officers, collectors who have come from these 4 districts. More importantly, the representation from the private sector, captains and leaders of industries, architects, planners, heads of academia, students from various planning and architectural courses, the representatives of Yuva Shakti in the state. Importantly, Team Niti. I'll also take the name of Mrs. Anna ma'am, the advisor of Niti Aayog, who have been helping us from the front to prepare this plan. My own team from Urban, Shatrughna and entire team, who have worked day and night to make this event as well as the book possible. Our partner organizations from Government of India at the national level and also at the state level who have been working in hand with us, friends from electronic and print media, all other distinguished guests. I convey with honor my wholehearted thanks to all of you for believing in us and also believing in growth story of Odisha. When I convey my thanks here, we also stand here with huge responsibility of making this economic plan implementable. It is not just by aspiration, but also by design, by also structural, institutional, and other linkages. As government of, as India is the brightest star in global scenario with microeconomic stability and growth, Odisha with Purvodaya scenario, one of the pioneer state, and we hope that it is going to be the brightest star among all the other states, both in inclusivity as well as growth. We have so many achievements, but at the same time, we also understand the challenges. When we have the fiscal stability, having 25% mineral production, we also have the opportunities in demography, MSME, tourism, housing, and various other aspects. So all of us who are present here agree that business cannot be as usual. Team from Niti just mentioned it's a very simple target. We are going to have a 20 times more growth. It's a very simple target. They said we have to have $500 billion economy from this region. So this simple target has to be brought down into even individual level activities and the achievements, performance. Accordingly, we can monitor, supervise, and know that where we are reaching, how we are reaching. So all responsibility on us. I can only assure from the entire team, from the state side, that we'll try our best to make sure that we'll be able to do it and within the timeline. CEO Niti Aayog mentioned about other states who are our neighbors, so they are also our competitors. We'll certainly give them a tough competition, that much I can assure all of you, sir. And once again, I thank each one of you for being part of this event, milestone event. And after this, we have technical session. I'll request some of you who are interested to stay back and be part of it. We have also given a small card in your kit. If anybody wants to give any suggestions, they can very well give, because all may not be able to participate because of the paucity of time. ମୁଁ ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କୁ ଆଉଥରେ ଧନ୍ୟବାଦ ଦେଉଛି, ଆନ୍ତରିକ କୃତଜ୍ଞତା ଜଣାଉଛି, ଆଉ ଆପଣଙ୍କର ଭ୍ୟୁ ପାଇଁ ସବୁବେଳେ ଆମେ ଆଭେଲେବଲ୍ ରହିବୁ। जे कार्ड गोटे मध्य दिया है जे एटी कहबाकू मौका ना मिलले समय अभाव आपण माने से सुझाव मध्य देखि पारिबे। इकोनॉमिक प्लान जो अच्छी एटा वर्क इन प्रोग्रेस ऑलवेज, एटा नहीं कि गोटे कास्ट कराई स्टोन रे, तो आपण मानकर सुझाव अनुसार एटा सबु बेले ताकू अपडेट करा हबो, से अनुसार इम्प्लीमेंट करा हबो। देशर जे मिशन अच्छी से मिशन विचारे राज्य तांकर निर्देश या डायरेक्शन ठीक करके आगे जीवो। आउतरे समस्तंकु धन्यवाद। वंदे उत्कल जननी, जय हिंद।
Thank you, ma'am, for those heartfelt words. With this, we declare the inaugural session over. We'll be starting the technical session quickly, so please remain seated. cities as a growth hub shaping future-ready cities of BCPPER. Esteemed Director, Municipal Administration, Shri Arindam Dakwa will be moderating this session. The speakers for the session will be Shri Shankar Deshpandeji, Metropolitan Commissioner, MMRDA, Dr. Debolina Kundu, Director, National Institute of Urban Affairs, NIUA, Shri Harpreet Arora, Program Head, Urbanist Economic Development, WRI India, Shri Swagata Das Gupta, Senior Transport Specialist, ADB. We have the graceful presence of Honorable Member of Parliament Cuttack, Shri Bhartrihari Mahtabji. Esteemed CEO, Niti Aayog, will be joining us. I think he is already here on stage. Shri BVR Subramaniamji. May I request esteemed ACS, Housing and Urban Development, will be joining us shortly. May I request esteemed moderator, Shri Arindam Dakwa, to please take the session forward. Sir.
Thank you and welcome to this technical session. We are very honored to have among us Honorable Member of the Parliament, Cuttack, Sri Bhartrihari Mahtab, who is a very outstanding parliamentarian and also a very grounded leader. The economic region definitely constitutes the core parliamentary constituency of Cuttack, and we'll be happy to note that the entire economic region at a point of time used to be known as Cuttack. So I welcome you, sir, to this panel discussion, and we are also honored to have among us Honorable CEO Niti Aayog, Sri BVR Subramaniam, sir. Sir, welcome to Odisha and welcome to this panel discussion, sir. And also we are being very shortly joined by Additional Chief Secretary of the Department, Srimati Usha Padhi, who is the team lead for the Housing and Urban Development Department of Odisha. And obviously the, as CEO sir has already acknowledged that the hard work given by her has brought about the result as we saw it today. And also we are very privileged to have among us the Director of National Institute of Urban Affairs, Dr. Debolina Kundu. She is not new to Odisha and Odisha is also not new to her. I welcome you, ma'am. We are very pleased to have you among us. And I also welcome Sri Harpreet Arora, Program Head, Urbanist, Economic Development from our partner organization, Ankur Partner from WRI. I welcome you, sir. We'll be looking forward to your interventions and also interventions on the field also. And also I heartily welcome Sri Swagata Das Gupta, Senior Transport Specialist from Asia Development Bank. So since we are planning a transit-oriented development within the economic region and also in future will be expanding into the entire territory of Odisha, your valuable comments and future support will be really very welcome. With this, may I kindly request CEO Niti Aayog, Sri BVR Subramaniam sir, to kindly give the keynote address, please. Sir, you can use this.
Thank you. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. All of you were there in the earlier session, so I don't want to repeat myself. But I draw your attention to a few things. I mentioned the fact that all major cities in the world have economic plans. And we never had that concept of India. We largely handed over, as I said, urban planning to architects. It's not that architects are unimportant. Architects should follow the vision. Architects cannot define the vision. And I'm saying that very upfront because I'm also surrounded by architects. And that has been the bane of Indian cities. what happens is, that is why Indian cities look the way they look. Because, first of all, cities were natural creations of development historically, along rivers, along sea coast, trading centers, market centers. Economic activity in even history required the growth of centers. And that is how human civilization grew. And therefore, whether we like it or not, cities are living entities on their own. And if cities' economic activities are not catered to, they will outgrow anything you plan for them. And that is also the second problem, that we plan for the past. The problem is, what happens tomorrow is the future, not the past. So we plan for industrialization and you realize the service sector dominates there. You will see city after city in the neighborhood littered with industrial estates, with shutdown units, with land going waste. We do not have mechanisms to actually foresee what is going to happen and plan. That is one. Second, rather than being reactive, can we identify what are the unique advantages of any region and then leverage those to accelerate growth? So it could happen. If you're on the coastline, you would try to leverage the sea coast. If you're on a junction or a logistics junction, you will try to leverage logistics. Take a country like Singapore. I mean, we learned a lot from them, and luckily Odisha government has a relationship with Singapore. When the country became independent, the then President Lee Kuan Yew went on television crying, saying, what will I do with this? I don't want to be independent. They were thrown out of the Malayan Federation because it was Chinese majority and the Malays didn't want them. He said, how will I develop this country which is a swamp filled with mosquitoes? Today, the per capita income of Singapore is more than that of Japan. You can transform yourself. And what did Singapore actually utilize? It utilized its locational advantage at the head of the Malacca Straits and then became a logistics hub for the entire Southeast Asian region. So it's become the world's biggest ship port, the world's biggest transshipment hub, the world's biggest oil refining hub is Singapore, and then so on and so forth. And then, of course, later on became a financial services hub. So it has just leveraged its location. Dubai didn't even have a locational advantage. Dubai does not have oil. 2% of Dubai's revenue comes from oil, not Abu Dhabi. I have leveraged that, converted it into a hub for the Middle East, Africa, Central Asia, both transport, logistics, and also manufacturing, and become that. So all cities look at themselves like that. Unfortunately, we have not looked at cities in that way. We have taken cities as an outcome of processes. Can we plan proactively and push cities? That is the thinking behind. So, I mean, we go to London for tourism, we go to New York for tourism, people go to Paris for tourism, and they are mega cities. Huh? Do we think of going to Bombay for tourism? We don't. It's not associated. Do we think of going to Pune for tourism? No. So, we think tourism is something which happens outside cities, not inside, whereas the world's biggest tourist destinations are cities. So we think tourism is somewhere in the jungle, sea coast, not in cities. Unfortunately, that's the reverse actually. So we need to plan for those. And the concept of the city economic region or the growth hub is fundamentally that. Take a city, identify its advantages, identify what are the current growth drivers, identify what can be potential growth drivers, identify what is needed to accelerate those drivers, and then plan for make it twice, thrice, 10 times. And then you show results. I mean, Hyderabad was a city of the Nizams, sleepy, slow, come to office at 11, take a long lunch break, very lazy culture. Somebody one day thought that why don't I become a IT city? Bangalore as a competitor, Chennai built up a high-tech city with just 2 towers. Today it rivals Bangalore and Chennai and is the leading center as far as GCCs are concerned. It's not the leader in IT, but in GCCs it is the leader. So, and there are people who have told me that, sir, when this is seen IAS officers, younger, When they were born, this part of Hyderabad didn't exist. Today you go there, it compares with Dallas or Houston or whatever. So you can plan systematically, in 20 years there can be a complete transformation. So that is the thinking behind the economic region. As I said, Mumbai has its own way, Varanasi has its own path, Surat has its own path. I think for Orissa, this particular triangular region with 4 major concentrations, Bhubaneswar, Cuttack, Puri and Paradip, bounded, it's a triangular, can actually become some such region. It has all the advantages of being a coastal zone, also a logistics. You have the finance minister has announced a lot of things over and above. It has actually, in a way, made the report slightly outdated before it is released. She has announced a East Coast Industrial Corridor from Calcutta all the way to Chennai. It will pass through this. We will, in the long run, have also a dedicated freight corridor here. We'll also have a bullet train one day in this area. So this is all there in the plan. And what this helps now is, what does it come out with? It comes out with a list of projects. These projects are clustered around 9 growth drivers. One pushes manufacturing, one pushes agro-processing, one pushes logistics. Each will generate millions of jobs. It will require billions of dollars or thousands of crores of rupees of investment. Each of them is a specific project. And as I mentioned, these projects have to be converted into a DPR and then floated for investment. We can all go to Davos, we can go to the other end of the world and say, come and invest. Fine, they say, what do I invest in? You need to have a piece of paper saying this is where you should invest. So this is going to come out with a shelf of projects, and there are 80 projects here. And each is going to have sub-projects. That's how you have investment. Once you fall into that virtuous cycle, it's a domino effect. 1 will become 2, 2 will become 5, 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, 1 lakh. It just goes very fast. The question is cracking the beginning. The good thing is Orissa has a very good base. It has history, it has culture, it has heritage, good educational system. You've got a good skilling ecosystem which is being improved further. Using all these levers, I think you can jump, start. This region can be a benchmark for the neighborhood. You can be, as that little film showed, the gateway to India. I'll not name, but anyway, the finance minister told me, in ancient India, why do you think Ashoka came to Kalinga? Actually, if you wanted apparently to trade from Magadha, the route to reach the sea was not go along the Ganges, but go vertically down and trade from Kalinga. So the trade of the Magadha Empire was actually happening through Kalinga. So it was commerce which made him actually come to Kalinga. He wanted to control the access of the stuff which goes in and out of Magadha or the Mauryan Empire. So this is how you have to leverage this state. The potential is huge. A state need not have just one economic region. It can have more than one, but I think this is the beginning. We are very lucky because it just got announced in the budget a few days ago, and I'm sure you could be one of the first to take advantage of it. We have help from senior leaders here who have a voice in Delhi. Our Honorable MP next to me heads a very important committee of the Parliament. They can all make a difference by urging the case. This is important for the people. It is not a political thing. It's a developmental thing. And the benefits go to the people of the state and the region. I mean, imagine being a $500 billion. I was just seeing, what is a $500 billion city? Seoul in Korea is only 400 billion. So we are talking of something which is bigger than Seoul in Korea. So we are talking of something which rivals those kind of cities. Done well, with a proper implementation mechanism, very focused, I think it's doable. These projects, they take off within a year. All of them start going into implementation mode. It's autopilot. You just have to see them actually rolling out. And I think each can be done. Each sector is an investor summit. Each group of activities is a place where you can call people and have focused discussion on, okay, I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll do this. 90% of the investment needed here will have to come from private sector. And the state is very friendly. I attended a power sector thing a couple of months ago in Puri. The state is in a very good position. I'm sure you can be a leader. I'll end here. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. And as you rightly said, in our vision document, we have 3 more economic region corridors, sir, which are industrial belts, western, southern, and also we have one in north. So we will be taking up, once the template is done, I think it can be taken up subsequently. Thank you so much. Now I'll go to our second panelist, Debolina Kundu ma'am. She is director of NIUA, National Institute of Urban Affairs, and she has a professional experience in working with multilateral bodies and as well as lot of urban development policies. So I'll request her to be very brief with the presentation, and she can express her views on the BCPPER. Thank you.
I would request the organizers to please put up the slide. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Chair. Honorable CEO, sir, from Niti Aayog, distinguished dignitaries and panelists on the desk, and distinguished dignitaries of the desk, colleagues and friends. For those of you who are not aware who we are, I represent the National Institute of Urban Affairs, the premier think tank with the Government of India, Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. I think the concept of growth hubs is not new. It had already been mentioned in the last budget, and also the Urban Challenge Fund has been mentioned with a dedicated fund of 100,000 crore rupees for cities to access. And Odisha, with a low share of, currently with a low share of urbanization, I think it has a huge opportunity and potential to harness the concept of growth hubs. The percentage of urban population in this state has been low. It's in 2011 it was around 17% compared to 31% of the country. Despite a fourfold increase since 81, the urbanization gap with the nation has still been wide, and Odisha is poised to...
Ma'am, you can speak to the mic maybe, yeah.
Odisha is poised to, the urban population is poised to rise, but moderately, as has been already mentioned, because the growth rate has been declining and is also projected to decline in future. Next slide, please. When I was invited to speak at this panel, I did a very brief calculation and also some analysis of how urbanization is happening in the state. What we find is there are 4 clusters emerging, and 10 class 1 cities of the state, which house more than 3 million people, account for 43% of Odisha's urban population. There is uneven distribution of urbanization across districts. 4 districts, Khordha, Ganjam, Sundargarh and Cuttack, they account for about 50% of the state's urban population. And the 4 regional hub clusters, they account for over 55% of the state's urban population. Next, please. The key question is, how have major cities grown over the last 2 decades, and how have city regions evolved beyond municipal limits? The cities like Bhubaneswar, Cuttack, Rourkela, Sambalpur, Jharsuguda and Berhampur, we have looked at those in details because they are the major cities, where we have also looked at 12-kilometer periphery buffers. We find high growth in Bhubaneswar, over 82% in built up between 2000 and 2020. Jharsuguda 125%, Sambalpur 75%, whereas cities like Cuttack, Rourkela and Berhampur, they have a low growth. And what is important is there is also high peripheral growth. Highest in Bhubaneswar, 3.5 times, Jharsuguda 2.7 times, Cuttack 2.6 times, which really indicates peripheralization of cities, and fastest growth is seen in the new economic hubs, Bhubaneswar and Jharsuguda, and older urban centers like Cuttack and Rourkela are not that promising in the growth of built-up areas. Next, please. We have also tried to profile the 4 districts of BCPPER. The 4 districts, they accommodate about 18% of the state's total population and cover 7.6% of the state's land area. The region also comprises 34 urban centers. The urban centers account for 31% of the total Odisha's urban population, and the region contributes to about 20% of Odisha's GDP. And the key driver of economic growth is the urban activity which is happening there, with significant potential for future urban and economic development. Next, please. If we look at the growth, next slide, please. Yes. If you could come back. Come back. Yes. The growth trajectories in BCPPER, what we find is there is a periphery-led growth which is happening across all cities. Built-up growth is consistently higher in the periphery than in the core. Paradip emerges as the fastest growing node. Bhubaneswar shows strong metropolitan spread. Cuttack is growing steadily but less dynamically. And for Puri, there is an outward shift. There is a lot of peripheral expansion for Puri. Next slide, please. Next. Yes. So when we look at the emergence of new settlements, we find if we use the global method of Digarba, we find various rural settlements are emerging which have urban characteristics across the state of Odisha, like several other states of India. And the Bhubaneswar-Cuttack belt is rapidly transforming, and the growth of coastal mega metro is happening. One of our dignitaries did mention that the state of Odisha does not have a metropolis. I think this Bhubaneswar-Cuttack belt has the potential and will be the largest conurbation of the state in the years to come. Next, please. When we look at the distribution of emerging urban settlements across districts, what we find is a high concentration of transitional areas in the coastal districts. More than 80% of the transitional areas comprising over 2,600 new functional urban settlements are concentrated in just 10 coastal districts. And 4 districts, Cuttack, Puri, Jagatsinghpur and Khordha, they account for 807 such transitional areas. Next, please. When we look at the urbanization scenario, what we find is the population contribution of the newly identified functional settlements to the existing urban areas in the state, they contribute to around 24% of the total population. Next, please. Now, one very important point which I would like to bring on the table is that the state of Odisha already has a rural-urban transition policy, and our current, the 16th Finance Commission recommendations, which you released a few days back, it does talk about 10,000 crore rupees urban premium grant as a one-time incentive to support merger of peri-urban villages into adjoining ULBs through the implementation of a rural-urban transition policy. So Odisha is the only state in the country which does have an already established rural-urban transition policy, and the state and the BCPPER region could really take advantage of the same and access the grant. Next, please. A lot has already been explained about Viksit Odisha 2036-2047 agenda. I'm not going into the details. Next, please. The key challenges in Odisha, I think unplanned peri-urban growth and informality, fragmented governance and limited capacities of urban local bodies and panchayats, infrastructure and service gaps do remain. There is also climate and environmental vulnerability which we need to address. There is also a mobility and spatial growth mismatch, and there is also pressure from the port and industry-led growth. Next, please. The key question is, how do we address these stresses? Next, please. So I think we need to make BCPPER future ready to address Odisha's primary growth engine for 2036 and 2047. Once in a generation urban opportunity is already there, which we need to harness. Again, the economic vision which has been anchored in the regional plan to reach 1.5 trillion USD economy by 2047 by making Paradip, Bhubaneswar, Cuttack, Puri, Konarak, Chelika as growth hubs. Paradip is already port-led manufacturing, Bhubaneswar knowledge, ITES, Cuttack logistics, wholesale markets, and the entire Puri belt is for pilgrimage, tourism, fisheries, and ecotourism. Next, please. We could also plan for infrastructure before people arrive, regional mobility, multimodal logistic parks, water supply, sewerage needs to be in place. Also introduce a no build before services principle, budget-linked planning and investment, integrated regional and special planning and GIS-based master plans. I think that is very important. A perspective plan needs to be established with phased development pathway, and cultural heritage, tourism, and place identity needs to be established. Next, please. As I mentioned, I think it's very important to plan infrastructure before people arrive. Regional mobility, multimodal logistic parks, water supply, sewerage needs to be established, and the budget needs to be linked with planning and investment alignment needs to come. When we talk about state budgets, medium-term expenditure frameworks, and also phased capital investments. Next, please. We also need to leverage central schemes and future-ready urban finance, and align cities with the key central programs like the Urban Challenge Fund. Also leverage the urbanization premium grant of 5,000 crores, which has recently been laid out in our budget. Introducing digital twins, GIS-based master plans, deregulation, property tax revamping, and user charges, bringing about green bonds, green financing, improving the credit worthiness of cities is also very important, and also to have climate-proof and uncertainty-ready urbanization. Next, please. The ICCCs, which are already there, I think they need to be repurposed towards making data-driven governance more expansive. Social infrastructure and livability is one of the most important pillars, mobility and regional connectivity, and also effective governance. I think we need to strengthen the capacities of the existing staff, bring about more defined roles of the municipal cadres. Regional institutions need to be capacitated, and ensure citizen-centric, time-bound delivery through clear leadership, accountability, and also cross-departmental coordination. Madam, before I end, I would like to also place on record that the National Institute of Urban Affairs has been working with the government of Odisha over the last few decades, and we are celebrating our 50 years of existence this year. We would like to also collaborate with your state in whatever ways we can to make the vision happen. Thank you so much.
Thank you, madam. The first session is supposed to be ending by 1. We are already running late, so we'll very quickly, I'll not give very detailed introduction. Mr. Sen Gupta, you can, Saugat Das Gupta, you can just go for 5 minutes views on focusing on transport, maybe urban transport. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Honorable MP, respected MLAs, mayors, other elected representatives, esteemed Usha ma'am, secretaries, distinguished guests, colleagues. So I'm delighted to join this event on behalf of the Asian Development Bank. I will mainly cover the urban mobility aspects. I will not say only the urban mobility aspects, but urban mobility and the logistic aspects for the entire region, BPCR region. This will be the first time when the mobility and the logistics for the entire region will be, we would like to highlight what we are going to achieve, what's the plan is that, because government of Odisha under the leadership of the Usha ma'am, we worked since early 2025 to identify what are to do the basic assessment is that where the region is with respect to mobility, urban transport and land use planning integrations, what are the opportunities are there? Is there any opportunities, what is the likelihood of the phasing of the mass transit, whether it's a metro or the maybe suburban rail, plus the bus solutions. Also, we would like to look into not with respect to the Bhubaneswar, but also with respect to the importance of the Paradip from the logistic point of view from the port. So we here in this case, it's not only, this will be the first time that government of Odisha in the India, in entire, all maybe I can't remember any cities or any region which did comprehensive urban mobility plan and logistic plan together, because this is extremely critical here. So I'm not going into this this 2047 vision. Everybody is more aware than me. Just I would like to share that the main, as I have mentioned, we are partnering with the GOA, Government of Odisha, to structure reliable, clean, safe, inclusive, and well-integrated mobility and logistic solutions for the region. Towards this, as I have mentioned, we initiated sometimes in early January. We did the scoping study for the mobility and the logistic aspects. Move to the next slide, please. And what we have observed that what is the current mobility situations, I don't want to go into the exactly with respect to number, but we noted that the public transport system in the region has a strong potentials to expand and serve growing travel demand, because there is a culture of using the public transport system, whether it's an informal or the kind of a formal transport system. So it creates an opportunity to encourage people to move towards shift from the private vehicle. But what we have observing currently, the private transport accounts for a larger share of the trips. It's almost like a 55 to 60% is the private vehicle, including the four-wheelers and the two-wheelers. But it provides a huge opportunity considering the cultural aspects that to increase the use of the public transport, walking and cycling, if we provide enabling infrastructure. Move to the next. Also, there is a huge opportunities with the systemic and compact urban growth, as I have mentioned. The mobility, we should not look into the isolations. If we look into with the integrated urban planning, growth planning, it will give much better outcome, maybe the compact city, instead of going for urban sprawl, the compact city concept, bringing people more to the mass transit corridor or the bus corridor will really help. Maybe we might conceptualize a 15-minute cities concept in case of the entire region. So overall, what we have identified, there is a strong case to investing in the better public transport in entire region. Also integrated planning, sustainable mobility solutions for the entire region. There are challenges, as I have mentioned, but there are significant opportunities also. Can you move to the next slide, please? So there are huge opportunities because there is a strong foundations for bus-based transit and multimodal integrations things. Based on that assessment, can you go to that next? I don't know, based on that assessment, in 2025, somewhere in December 2025, we approved a technical assistance program which will support government of Odisha to come up with a comprehensive urban regional mobility plan and also the logistic plan for the entire region. Plus, you already have a CRUT and OSRTC to strengthen bus-based transport system, because maybe the mass transit system, it takes time, it will be very investment heavy. So we are not saying that it's not needed, but at this moment, considering the population size and other things, it is possible to come up with a good bus-based solutions, total mobility solutions, including first mile, last mile. Next. So these are the, so first things what we thought is that majority of the cities, frankly, I would like to be candid, prepare comprehensive mobility plan only for the sake of maybe approving metro projects. But here, this will be the first time the comprehensive mobility plan will be prepared for the entire region. It will include the mobility plan for each and every cities, maybe the 4 cities. The innovative things is that, as I have mentioned, integrated approach for urban land use planning mobility, integrated plan for logistic and mobility solutions, focus on public transport-based total mobility solutions. Third is that use mobile signal data for the travel demand assessment. This will be the first time in this country it will happen. And also, as everybody has mentioned, whatever the plan will be prepared, it will be investment ready. It will not be a theoretical or just for the knowledge purpose. And also another aspect that I would like to quickly cover is that we would also aspire to support Government of Orissa to set up an unified transport authority for the entire region, plus to the extent possible TOD and the land value capturing based on the potentials of the different locations. Next. I would not like to go into this, maybe there are lots, move to the next. So also we would like to support under this technical assistance program, bus service augmentations and long-term business plan preparations. This will cover the business plan for state transport undertakings like OSRTC as well as crude to strengthen service quality, improve operational efficiency and give future investment planning. And also the adoptions of the digital technology, not only for this with respect to ticketing, but also bus scheduling and the billing. So what it will enable more efficient use of the resources, improve bankability of the service contract, particularly if you are going for the GCC or the modified GCC contracts. So I would like to say that we are really, in conclusions, I would like to say that we are really grateful and would like to express our sincere appreciation for this partnership to GOA, particularly Usha ma'am, and which is expected to contribute to achieving Odisha's Vision 2036 and 2047 by transforming this region into a high-impact national growth corridor by 2024-7. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And Saugatji, we expect the plan to come to us as early as possible. Now I'll quickly go to Harpreet Aroraji. He's program head of economic development in WRI. WRI also has been helping us, sir, as a partner organization. And some of the initiative, whether it's a neighborhood landscaping and all, they have been helping and your team has been working with us. So very quickly, maybe in next 5 minutes, you can share your views and how you can contribute to us. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. It's a great privilege. While I speak on behalf of WRI, but I do want to say thank you to CEO sir as well and to the entire team for NITI, because when we worked together for building the BCPPER, not only that it was a great learning curve for us, but what sir has said, we have nudged the way of moving statutory planning into an economic thinking first. And it is something that we all in the room should compliment both Niti Aayog and the team at Odisha as well. This is not something that we relate directly when we look at larger city regions that we want to present. So if you go to the next slide, please. This is largely how most of the populous cities in our cities, country context look like. You'll probably see it as very dense with metropolitan areas. And as we've been talking about these metropolitan areas, when they were planned to be economic hubs, they actually graduated to become one. We at here have a chance to actually prepare this graduation for both the 4 cities and the region that would come up in the next 15 to 20 years from now to create an economic region hub. We go to next slide, please. There is obviously a true agglomeration effect that we actually see. You'll probably find that within this budget and the one previously, we started recognizing that if India has to achieve not only just the economic prosperity, but also to share this prosperity widely into every citizen's part of it as a balanced regional growth, we have to look beyond the metropolitan regions. And it was very refreshing this year to hear the budget focusing on tier 2, tier 3 cities. And then we all say that, Orissa has been only urbanized 24%. But maybe this is the best kept secret, You actually send for the 15, 20 years your first charge of batteries of metropolitan cities to do it. But now is the time where you actually have land values, your ability to capture those land values within the eastern coastal region. Orissa is actually one of the most fertile bed to do that. If you go to the next slide, please. This is just a representation of how contiguous regions actually develop. To explain the complexity, if you go to the next slide, this is largely the governance boundary. This is NCR. You have multiplicity of governance. You have Delhi, you have New Delhi, you have Gurgaon and others. But just by actually pushing this through, by actually thinking cities as a region, we have an opportunity to not repeat these governance amendment to limit ourselves for development. And I think if we go to the next slide, this is what BCPPER as a plan has done it. We worked on economic planning, largely projections, as Sir has said. Finding projections in the next 15 years from now, 20 years from now. And one thing that was very refreshing, and I again say it's the best kept secret, Orissa originally, this region already is about 11 to 11.5% of CAGR growth. In a do-nothing scenario, it would reach 200 billion. In just giving a nudge to what we have identified, it would definitely surpass the project that we have kept it as an opportunity target. And if we have some of those slides as well. What it does attract what Ma'am also said. We are in competition with other states. Not only that we are in competition with other states as well, we are also competing internally about just the resourcing, attraction of firms. And while we have an opportunity to assuring that large firms predominantly look for megacities, the costing of these establishments, the infrastructure ability, smaller firms, as we've been all taking, the prominence of from smaller firms to actually create business opportunity, BCPPER as a region gives that opportunity to be seized in the next 15 to 20 years from now. Next slide, please. Now, we all have said that this is not something that India has been not doing it. India tried to create regions of economic corridor, but where to see cities at the center of growth, urbanization of center of growth, and not just looking at industrial development per se. This is actually one of the first one, and we are very happy that this has evolved for the first time. And we've tested these 5 regions, and BCPPER is one of those which really creates an opportunity for us to create these development regions, not only just planning perspective, but attracting investment from private sector as well. Go to the next one slide, please. One of the reasons that I think I would want to persuade as an WRI, we would want the city to also not only just look at a development first, but also a resilience and an inclusive, low carbon development possibility that we've said before. I'm also very sure that there is already a thought about creating not only just the development corridor, but a transport corridor, assuring and identifying opportunities by which these transit corridors could be low carbon. That could be either rail-based system or electric bus selection system. But just that the thought has already embedded in front is a great opportunity for making cities around it. Next. We've also thought about built-up growth. If you go to the next slide, please, I think that would. These are largely the nightlight data indicators of economy. And you probably see why the natural selection of these 4 cities have actually been abundantly appreciated. The one in the most opportunity corridor, which frankly, we've not spoken about tourism most frankly as the greater tourism economic corridor, which is between Puri and Paradeep. And that is a great definition that has also been recognized both in the present discourse of the federal budget, but also if you see the proportions of allocations of budgets and the allocations of projects that have been identified in the BCPPER plan. If you go to the next slide, please, we'll find that there is an opportunity of exploring this. If you go to the next slide, this is something that we had been projection. If you go next slide. And again, some of these backup projections. And one thing that I do want to compliment Niti Aayog for that, we now have a template. This is something that, doing economic plan, identifying GST, and it's probably one of the first things, sir, identifying city level GSDP is something that India is actually proving the nations, how much of economic volatility that we can, what is the projection that we can, and that becomes a corridor for identifying. We've smoothed the square kilometer definition to millions of outcome definition for a master plan that has to achieve. To the next slide, please. This is one of the ones that I was saying on the varying growth rate scenarios. You know, we probably have a scenario between a 620 billion to anything between, if it goes by natural growth of about 11%, between 185%. What we want to do as going forward, ma'am, as you know, probable ideas of identifying these projects, curating these projects. If we go next slide. Going forward, we have to make sure that these cities are not vulnerable to multiple environment and climate hazard. We all need to recognize that this is not something that we can't plan for, but we need to assure our cities are built in a way that these climatic events don't hamper the economic development prosperity of it. So we need to increase the, these identified, which are, next slide if you go. These are largely the areas that we've been identified. This is part of joint work effort that is being done by Niti Aayog and us, identifying cyclone count, identifying land susceptibility. What it does is it guides the next set of terms of references for the master plans, for the DPRs that have to be come up, so that these remain as guidance in which these proposals have to come in. Next slide. Next one, please. This is one of my final slides. I think bringing testing models of economic development has already been done. We have created opportunities for unlocking private sector investment in these tier 2 cities. What we need to do is create a pipeline of these investable pipelines. There is readiness already in some shape with BCPPER already. What we need to do is we need to bring up not only just the avenues for private sector to co-invest, but also to find opportunities in which some of these can be prioritized. And that exercise is something that I know ma'am has already begun on working on it. But thank you very much. This is all I wanted to share. And really, I think I really compliment both the government of Orissa, Niti Aayog for actually putting this, this is actually a very humbling exercise, but just, contributing from WRI perspective was a great opportunity. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Arora. We were just told that the best kept secret of WRI is that you are very good in doing various plans, which you have to put your resources and help us. So, thank you so much. Anyway, we have been working with you, so I'll take it forward. ମୁଁ ଏବେ ଅନୁରୋଧ କରୁଛି ଆମର ମାନ୍ୟବର MP ମହୋଦୟ ଜଗତ ସିଂହପୁର ତାଙ୍କର କିଛି ପାର୍ଟ ପାରାଦୀପରେ ବଟ୍ କଟକ ଆଉ ପୁରୀରେ ବି ଟଚ୍ କରିବେ ସବୁବେଳେ ସେ ଏଠି ସାର୍ ଏଇଟା ଦେଇ ଦେଉଛି ଏଠି ତାଙ୍କର ସେ ପୋର୍ଟ ଲେଡ୍ ଡେଭଲପମେଣ୍ଟ ଉପରେ ପ୍ଲସ୍ ଏବେ କହୁଥିଲେ ମାନ୍ୟବର ମୁଖ୍ୟମନ୍ତ୍ରୀଙ୍କ ସାମ୍ନାରେ ଇନକ୍ଲୁସିଭ୍ କେମିତି ହେଇପାରିବ ତ ମୁଁ ତାଙ୍କୁ ଅନୁରୋଧ କରୁଛି ତାଙ୍କର ବକ୍ତବ୍ୟ ରଖିବେ
ଆମର ଆଜିର ପ୍ୟାନେଲ ଡିସ୍କସନର ସଞ୍ଚାଳିକା ସମ୍ମାନ୍ୟା ଉଷା ପାଢ଼ୀ ମହୋଦୟ ଆମ ସାଙ୍ଗରେ ଉପସ୍ଥିତ ଅଛନ୍ତି ଆମର କଟକର ସାଂସଦ ସମ୍ମାନ୍ୟ ଭର୍ତ୍ତୃହରି ମହତାବ ମହୋଦୟ ନୀତି ଆୟୋଗରୁ ଯିଏ ପ୍ରତିନିଧିତ୍ୱ କରୁଛନ୍ତି CEO ଭାବରେ ସୁବ୍ରମଣ୍ୟମ ଜୀ ଆମର ଅରିନ୍ଦମ ଡାକୁଆ ଡାଇରେକ୍ଟର ମ୍ୟୁନିସିପାଲ ଆଡମିନିଷ୍ଟ୍ରେସନ ଏବଂ ମଞ୍ଚାସୀନ ସମସ୍ତ ଏକ୍ସପର୍ଟସ୍ ଯେଉଁମାନଙ୍କର ଅର୍ବାନାଇଜେସନ୍ କ୍ଷେତ୍ରରେ ବିଭିନ୍ନ ବିଶେଷତ୍ୱ ଅଛି ଏବଂ ସେମାନେ ତାଙ୍କର ବକ୍ତବ୍ୟ ପ୍ରଦାନ କରିସାରିଛନ୍ତି ଏବଂ ମୋ ସାମ୍ନାରେ ଉପସ୍ଥିତ ଆମ ଓଡ଼ିଶାର ଏ ଯେଉଁ ଭୁବନେଶ୍ୱର ପୁରୀ ଏବଂ କଟକ ପାରାଦୀପ ଏ ଯେଉଁ ଇକୋନୋମିକ୍ କରିଡର ବା ଅର୍ଥନୀତିର ଅଭିବୃଦ୍ଧି ପାଇଁ ଆମର ସମସ୍ତ ଜନପ୍ରତିନିଧି ସମସ୍ତ ପ୍ରଶାସନିକ ଅଧିକାରୀ ଏବଂ ସାମ୍ବାଦିକ ବନ୍ଧୁଗଣ ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ଆମର ଭାରତ ସରକାର ଏବଂ ଆମର ପ୍ରିୟ ପ୍ରଧାନମନ୍ତ୍ରୀ ଅର୍ବାନାଇଜେସନ୍ ଉପରେ ଗୁରୁତ୍ୱ ଦେଉଛନ୍ତି ଆମେ ଗୋଟିଏ କଥା ଚିନ୍ତା କରିବା ଆମ ଦେଶ ସ୍ୱାଧୀନ ହେଲା 1947ରେ ଚାଇନା ସ୍ୱାଧୀନ ହେଲା 1949ରେ ଏବଂ 1960-70 ଦଶକରେ ଚାଇନାର ଅର୍ବାନାଇଜେସନ୍ ଏବଂ ଇଣ୍ଡିଆର ଅର୍ବାନାଇଜେସନ୍ ଏ ପାଖାପାଖି ସମାନ ଥିଲା କିନ୍ତୁ ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ପରିସ୍ଥିତିରେ ଇଣ୍ଡିଆର ଅର୍ବାନାଇଜେସନ୍ କ୍ଷେତ୍ରରେ ଆମେ ତାଙ୍କ ଅଧାରେ ଅଛେ ସେମାନେ ଆମଠୁ 2 ଗୁଣା ଅଧିକ ଅର୍ବାନାଇଜେସନ୍ କ୍ଷେତ୍ରରେ ଆଗକୁ ଯାଇଛନ୍ତି ତେଣୁ ଆମେ ଗୋଟିଏ କଥା କହୁଛେ ଯେ ଇକୋନୋମିର କିଭଳି ଭାବରେ ତାର ଗ୍ରୋଥ ହେବ जदि अर्थनैतिक अभिवृद्धिर कथा आसुचे ताहले सहरांचल को किभली भाव में आम परिव्याप्त करेबा ताहले गोटे प्रसंग आम आणुचे जे भारतवर्ष को आम विकसित भारतवर्ष रे परिणत करिबा ताहले आम हाथ रे मात्र 21 वर्ष अच्छी एवं वर्तमान आमर अर्थनीति $5 ट्रिलियन रे अच्छी जदि विकसित राष्ट्र करिबा ताहले अति कम रे $30 ट्रिलियन रो अर्थनीति आमर आवश्यकता अच्छी एवं आमे ओडिशा को विकसित ओडिशा रे परिणत करिया को हेले ये ओडिशा रो अर्थनीति के आमे $1.5 ट्रिलियन रो अर्थनीति रे परिणत करिया को हबो तेणु ये जो 21 वर्ष भीतर जो टार्गेट ये टार्गेट को पूरण करिया पई सारा देशर सहरांचल को विकसित करिबा एवं नुआ सहरांचल बा अर्बानाइजेशन पाई आम उद्यम करिबा तेणु जदि उद्यम करिबा प्रकृति उद्यमकारी किए दीटा सरकार गोटे केंद्र सरकार गोटे राज्यर सरकार एवं गोटे कथा आसुची एथिपाई प्लान दरकार योजना दरकार एवं योजना को कार्यकारी कला बेले इम्प्लीमेंटेशन पार्टा को आम दृष्टि दबा प्रकृति इम्प्लीमेंटेशन पार्टा ताकू करेब किए ताकू करेबा दायित्व होची विशेष भाव में प्रशासनिक अधिकारी मानकर गोटे गुरुत्वपूर्ण एवं बड़ भूमिका अच्छी प्रकृति में गोटे समय सरकार बदले ये सरकार जो योजना प्रस्तुत करते एवं परवर्ती सरकार आसिला बेलू से जो इम्प्लीमेंटेशन पार्ट अनेक क्षेत्र में पुणी रही जाए पुणी नुआ भाव में आरंभ हुए जदि जो सरकारटा क्रमागत भाव में अच्छी तेणु पूर्व सरकार समय जो काम गुड़िक हाथ को नि जाए ताहा पुणी चलचंचल है मु अधिक समय नेबी नहीं मोर निजर केतक अभिज्ञतार मु कहिबी मु प्रथम एमपी थिली 2009 रु 2014 सेतेबेले मो मन भितर आसिला जे पारादीपर किभली ताको अर्बानाइजेशन करा जाई पारिबो तेणु सेतेबेले मु शिपिंग कंसल्टेटिव कमिटी रे मेंबर थिले एवं जी शिपिंग मिनिस्टर थिले जीके भाषण तांको सहित मोर भारी अंतरंगता थिला एवं सेतेबेले जी पारादीप बंदर अध्यक्ष आसिले तांको मो प्रभावित कली जे पारादीप बंदर तैयारी हला दिनुठु 1962 मसीहाटू ओडिशा सरकार एवं केंद्र सरकार भितर लैंड डिस्प्यूट अच्छी तेणु सेठी सहरांचल करिया पई हेले ये लैंड डिस्प्यूट सरीबा दरकार समाधान होबा दरकार तेणु ये कोर्ट रे चली थिला बेले सेतेबेलर जे बंदर अध्यक्ष एठी आमर जे थिले मुख्यमंत्री एवं प्रशासनिक अधिकारी भेटिले एवं सेतेबेले गोटे रेवेन्यू सेक्रेटरी थिले तारा दत्त मु निजे फाइनाल करई थिले जे 650 एकर जमी सेतेबेले बंदर अध्यक्ष राजी हेले ओडिशा सरकार को देबे किंतु तारा दत्त सेतेबेले गोटे कथा कले जे डिमांड कले जे 2000 एकर जमी ओडिशा सरकार को दबाकू हम जोटा प्रकृति तांकर उद्देश्य नथिला सेठिकार स्थानीय जने नेता द्वारा प्रभावित होकर ये कथा को करया को चाहू नथिले जो आज पर्यंत से लैंड डिस्प्यूट तुटी ना आमे एठी मुख्यमंत्री सहित एठी आमे आलोचना करूथुलु जे पारादीप की जदि सहरांचल करा जिवो किभली भाव में करा जिवो सेठी ओडिशा सरकारंकर जमी आगो चिन्हट होबा दरकार ओडिशा सरकार एवं केंद्र सरकार आंको भितर ये लैंड डिस्प्यूट तुटिबा दरकार एथिपाई ओडिशा सरकार तरफ ये इनिशिएटिव नबार आवश्यकता अच्छी अपरपक्षे विभिन्न बंदर जो गुड़िक अच्छी अनेक सारा भारत वर्षर अनेक बंदर से राज्यर राजधानी रे परिणत होइছে नहले विकसित सहरांचल रे परिणत होइছে आमे कार्गो हैंडलिंग सेक्टर रे पारादीप बंदर समग्र देश रे 1 नंबर अछि किंतु सहरांचल भाव रे शिक्षा क्षेत्र रे आमे सबुठु पछरे अछु एठी पारादीप रो म्युनिसिपालिटी गोटे अछि म्युनिसिपालिटी रो निर्दिष्ट भौगोलिक सीमा रेखा नाही एवं अधिकांश वार्ड गुड़िक पारादीप बंदर एरिया भितर अच्छी तेणु डेभलपमेंट केमती हम एवं म्युनिसिपालिटी जो अंतेवासी माने अच्छंती से माने विभिन्न जगार जोर जबरदस्ती रही अनेक बंदरांचल रे वर्तमान चेन्नई हो भाईजाग हो मल्टी स्टोरी बिल्डिंग होती रिहाबिलिटेशन पाई किंतु पारादीप रे ये कथा को मध्य करा जाई पारे ये बस्ती बासिंदा को थईथान करी तांको मध्य रखा जाई पारे तेणु ये प्रसंग गुड़ी को टेकअप किए करिवो टेकअप कले प्रकृत रे दृढ़ प्रशासनिक अधिकारी दृढ़ मानसिकता दरकार सेथिपाई सरकारंकर सेथिरे प्रच्छद पटरे समुदाय सहयोग मध्य दरकार तेणु जी विभागीय अधिकारी अछंती ये विभागीय अधिकारी आपको टेकअप करिकरी कले हम कहीं ना आमे योजना बनैबा किंतु प्रकृत रे सेथिरे प्रतिबंधक कौन अच्छी लैंड डिस्प्यूट कौन अच्छी आमे जेतेबेले इकोनॉमी बढ़िया को चाहूचे सेतेबेले विभिन्न इंडस्ट्री किभली डेवलप कथा चिंता करुचे धरंतु आमे नाफ्ता क्रैकर प्रोजेक्ट करिया को चाहूचे नाफ्ता क्रैकर प्रोजेक्ट पाई हमरो पाखापाखि 2000 एकर जमी दरकार 780 एकर जमी अधिग्रहण होइछि सेथिरे समुदाय केते क्षतिपूर्ण दिया जीवो एपर्यंत ओडिशा सरकार द्वारा समुदाय तार परिसमाप्ति हैनी पुणी नुआ जमी अधिग्रहण हम से विज्ञप्ति प्रकाश पाइने तेणु आको प्रकृत में ओडिशा सरकार आम केवल इंडस्ट्री बढ़ाईदेवा कथा कहले हम ना केवल एमओ करदेले हम ना से प्रतिबंधक कौन अच्छी देखा पड़ो या धरतु आम कोस्टाल हाईवे कथा चिंता करुचे गंजाम ठू बालेश्वर पर्यंत कोस्टाल हाईवे हम से पारादीप अंचल आसूची पुरीर अनेक अंचल आसूची कोणार्क ठू अस्तरंग ठू आरंभ करिकी पारादीप अंचल आसीबो न्यू इकोनॉमिक कॉरिडोर कथा चिंता कला बेले सेथिरे ये कोस्टाल हाईवे रो गुरुत्वपूर्ण अवदान अच्छी कारण आम टूरिज्म कथा नौचे इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट रो टूरिज्म रो कथा आम नौचे तेणु टूरिज्मटा केमिति हम जदि कोस्टाल हाईवेटा बढ़िला ताले ये टूरिज्म क्षेत्र रे ये अंचल गुड़िक प्रकृत में बहु आगो को जीव तेणु यार किभली भाव में शीघ्र ये कार्यगुड़ी को हो पार से भाव में आम संयोगीकरण कथा कहूँ कम्युनिकेशन फैसिलिटी ये नेशनल हाईवे कथा हो रेलवे किभली रेलवे क्षेत्र में संयोगीकरण हो पार ये रेलवे क्षेत्र में संयोगीकरण करने आम अस्तरंग गोटे बंदर करने को चाहूँचे तेणु कटक बा भुवनेश्वर अस्तरंग पर्यंत रेलवे संयोगीकरण हम से लैंड एक्विजिशन आवश्यकता अच्छी से राज्य सरकार तरफ प्रकृत में इम्प्लीमेंटेशन पार्टा समुदाय निर्भर करुच्ची कंसर्न डिपार्टमेंट गुड़िक जो माने प्रशासनिक अधिकारी अच्छा जदि से प्रकृत में क्रियाशील हेबे सेमाने अधिकंतु ये कथा गुड़ी को आगु को नेबे ताहले संभव हम से भाव में आम देखुचे पुरी रु कोणार्क पुरी रे क्रूज शिप चलो जदि क्रूज शिप चलला से आमर टूरिस्ट माने प्रभावित हेबे बर्तमान केंद्र सरकार योजना कर पारादीप रे शिपयार्ड तैयारी करेंगे से शिपयार्ड ये केन्द्रापड़ा जिलार जो जगार ये शिपयार्ड तैयारी हम से लैंड एक्विजिशन आवश्यकता अच्छी एथिपाई केंद्र सरकार अर्थ दबापी राजी राज्य सरकार ये गुड़िक करने राजी अपर पक्षे अनेक योजना अच्छी ये योजना गुड़िक मैचिंग ग्रांट दबार आवश्यकता अच्छी ओडिशा सरकार जोठी 60-40 रेशियो रे मैचिंग ग्रांट हम धरतु मु गोटे प्रस्ताव देली अस्तरंगर गोटे फिशिंग हार्बर करने केंद्र सरकार 180 कोटी टंकार अप्रूवाल देदेले एठी ओडिशा सरकार तरफ अनेक प्रोजेक्ट प्रधानमंत्री द्वारा शिलान्यास हो गला किंतु अस्तरंगर फिशिंग हार्बर एठी प्रकृत में से भाव में डीपीआर प्रस्तुत होगा एवं से मैचिंग ग्रांट पाई ओडिशा सरकार जो कंसेंट रहिबा कथा ये हवा दरकार ताहले प्रधानमंत्री द्वारा शिलान्यास हो जाता तेणु ये सब कथा गुड़िक जो जो विभागीय अधिकारी माने अच्छंती एवं सरकारी कलर जो माने मंत्री आमे एमपी एमएलए एथिरे आमर गोटे कंस्ट्रक्टिव माइंडसेट रो आवश्यकता अच्छी तेणु प्रकृत में पैसार बर्तमान अभाव नहीं तेणु समस्त विभाग गुड़ी को क्रियाशील करवा एवं सबु जगार बर्तमान गोटे गोटे कथा होचे आमे कहूचे जे विकसित करवा अर्थनीति केमिति बढ़िबो अर्थनीति बढ़िबो बैंकिंग सेक्टर उपरे अनेक कथा निर्भर करुचे बैंक गुड़िक चलचंचल हवा कथा मु इंडस्ट्री कमिटी अच्छे आमे सारा देश बुलुछु देखुचु बैंक्स गुड़िक प्रोएक्टिव नुहंती आमे प्रधानमंत्री एम्प्लॉयमेंट ग्यारंटी रे शिक्षित बेकार युवक स्वावलंबी हब एवं एंटरप्रेन्योर हब ये जो गला बजेट गला बजेट रे 7 लाख कोटी टंका एमएसएमई क्षेत्र में केंद्र सरकार देइचंती प्रकृत में आपको कहगला युव शक्ति ड्रिविन बजेट एवं एक्सपोर्ट ओरिएंटेड बजेट आम देशर एग्री प्रोडक्ट्स गुड़िक बाहर देश को बड़का खाद्यशस्य जीव बा कृषिजात द्रव्य जीव आम बाहर देशर अर्थ आनिबा प्रकृत विकसित केतेबेले देश हम जेतेबेले बाहर देशर अर्थ बाहर देशर पुंजी आम देशर अर्थनीति की बढ़ेबारे साहाय्यकारी हम नहीं आम विकसित हो पारे जेते विकसित राष्ट्र देखंतु अमेरिका हो चाइना हो फ्रांस हो जर्मन हो जापान हो इंग्लैंड हो रूसिया हो ये बाहर देशर अर्थ विभिन्न क्षेत्र प्रतिरक्षा सामग्री रप्तानी करिकी हो चाइना ये कुटीर शिल्पर प्रोडक्ट गुड़ी को बाहर को देकी हो विभिन्न क्षेत्र में आमर जदि आम एक्सपोर्ट ओरिएंटेड न हो पारिबा जदि रप्तानी क्षेत्र में आम आगु को न जीवा विदेशी पुंजी जदि आम देश को न आनिबा आम देश विकसित हेबनी से मु सरकारी ऑफिसर टे अच्छी मु नेताटे अच्छी आम भीतर से भावना ठू दूर रहीकि आमे जदि गोटे भावना नबा वी ऑल आर इंडियंस आमे भारतीय ये देश को तैयारी करबा काम मोर मु जो जगार मु जो वृत्ति रे अच्छी ये काम होची मोर मते करिया को हबो एवं सेथिरे जदि प्रकृत रे दुर्नीति मुक्त हेकरी आमे भारतीयता आधार ये काम गुड़ी को करिबा ताहले हेई पारिबो गोटे कोणार्क रे गोटे इश्यू अछि सारिली कोणार्क रे गोटे इश्यू अछि सेठी जो माने व्यापार करिया पे अछंती ए जो कुटीर शिल्प आमे बढ़िया को चाहूचे हैंडलूम्स की हैंडीक्राफ्ट्स कथा जो माने हैंडीक्राफ्ट्स व्यापार करूचंती कोणार्क रे तांकर डिस्प्यूट पाखापाखि हो गला 25 वर्ष 30 वर्ष तार समाधान किए करिवो तार समाधान जिला प्रशासन किंबा राज्य प्रशासन करिवो एवं जो माने व्यापार करूचंती सी बेपारी जदि स्थिर भाव में शांत भाव में बेपार न करेंगे ताले बेपार केमती हम इकोनोमीटा कौन इकोनोमी प्रति परिवार स्वावलंबी हम प्रति परिवार रोजगारक्षम हम एवं आम देशर थिबा जिनिस गुड़िक जोटा आम कहूचे जे भोकाल फॉर लोकाल कथा कहूचे आत्मनिर्भर भारतर कथा कहूचे आत्मनिर्भर भारत केतेबेले हम ना प्रतिटी लोक विभिन्न वृत्तिधारी मनीष जदि रोजगारक्षम हम अर्थनीति की बढ़ेब ताहले देश अर्थनीति क्षेत्र में आगू को जीव ये देश विकसित हम तेणु ये जो जो कथा गुड़िक आज आलोचना है बहुत एक्सपर्ट से माने आलोचना करिसंती माननीय मुख्यमंत्री सी बहु तांकर दृष्टिभंगी आपण पाखे उपस्थापित करिसंती सो आमको गोटे रेस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी नबा को हबो जे टू मेक इंडिया it is our prime responsibility in which way we all in every profession we have to try for a developed nation, for a developed state. Thank you.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सर आम आपण जे कहले बहुत पैशनेटली कहले आम निश्चय चेष्टा करवा आउ जे फील्ड मेकानिजम अच्छी सर ताकू स्ट्रेंथन करबा पई भी जे इंस्टीट्यूशनल अरेंजमेंट अच्छी ताकू चेष्टा करवा सो दैट आमर फील्ड फंक्शनरीज जे आपण एक्सपेक्टेशन करछंती से अनुसार करि पारिबे एबे मो ए सेशन रो चेयरपर्सन अछंती ऑनरेबल एमपी कटक को अनुरोध करूची से तांकू केवल आम पार्लिमेंटेरियन हिसाब रे जानिनु आम गोटे ओडिशार गोटे आधुनिक ओडिशा पई जे स्वप्न देखिबा लोक और तांकर विभिन्न आर्टिकल गुड़िक मु देखे तो तांकर जे विजन अच्छी निश्चय आम समस्त को सहायक हबो मो बाबूची से केवल कटक रा नहीं ओवरऑल एरिया या ओवरऑल ओडिशा रा बद्य तांकर धारणा अच्छी मो तांकू अनुरोध करूची तांकर वक्तव्य रखिबे धन्यवाद सर ओवर टू यू
Thank you, madam. I don't know whether many of you are aware who Mr. Subramaniam is. He is the CEO of, no doubt, of Niti Aayog, but he has spent his adolescent days in Bhubaneswar, in Cuttack, in Odisha. He has seen how Bhubaneswar has grown from a mere passenger halt station where Madras mail used to halt for only 1 minute, and he with his parents had to go to Khordha road station to catch the Madras mail. And his father can read Odia, can speak of course in Odia. That is his connection with our state. And as the Honorable Chief Minister mentioned, we are really indebted to Niti Aayog for preparing such a beautiful report. We have Dr. Kundu with us, who has given us at least that what I could understand from your deliberation relating to urban development. And frankly speaking, I have seen Bhubaneswar in late 50s, in early 60s, and now I am seeing what type of chaos it has become. When I hear some of the people who come from other parts of the country saying, Bhubaneswar is such a beautiful city, I said it was. Take a vehicle at 5:30 in the evening from Kalpana Square and try to travel to Nandankanan, you can find out what chaos Bhubaneswar has become. So in that respect, lot of challenges are there before us. It's not only Bhubaneswar as the capital of our state. I would say Odisha, after it has come into existence after independence, 4 planned cities are in the making. First was Bhubaneswar as the capital city. Next was Raurkela as a steel city. Then came Angul, Nakkonagar, or before that Paradip, which we could have developed as a good city, good planned city. Other than these 4, all others are clusters. Clusters of villages, pilgrim centers, and it has evolved as it has. And I remember when the smart city concept was mooted by our Honorable Prime Minister, when I was interacting with, smart city concept came in during the NDA government, but before that, during the UPA government, Jawaharlal Nehru Urban Renewal Mission, Jaipal Reddy that time was the Minister of Urban Affairs. And subsequently, I don't understand why only the Telugu peoples are heading urban areas. Then Venkaiah Naidu became the Urban Development Minister. He told me, those states which have urban centers, they create wealth. And that's how the states become rich. Those who have seen Pune, what was Pune earlier? And how it has developed into an industrial hub. I remember in the early 50s, I'm talking about 51, 52, when the first penicillin industry foundation was laid in Pimpri. What industry was there in Pune? Not a single industry was there. And how it has developed. So urbanization has to go hand in hand with industrialization. But having industries, we also have to do it in a planned way. And throughout the world, most of the industries, because of our climatic situation, are always situated in the north side of the city. Of course, nowadays, that doesn't happen very often. But I have certain suggestions to make here. Only 4 districts have been confined to the plan that we have before us today. We have to go a little further. I think in course of time, new areas also will be added. As the capital region ring road is already in the process of construction, already money has been sanctioned, it will also cover little part of Dhenkanal when it will be reaching Govindpur of Cuttack district, starting from the Tangi area of Khurda, bypassing Khurda, Bhubaneswar, Cuttack and Chaudhar. So those areas will ultimately be getting certain industries. My request has always been to the administration, to the government, that don't put chimney industries there, because it is, that road is being constructed in a greenfield area. Better we have pharma industries, we have IT industries. We don't need industries with chimneys belching out smoke. There was a time in 2002, 2003, and that time I was convener along with Mr. Somnath Chatterjee, that time was chairing that committee. We were going around trying, because the new telecom policy had been implemented by that time. STPIs were being set up. Bhubaneswar had a STPI. Calcutta had not. Why Bhubaneswar? Because the optical fiber by that time had already been laid, and it was, the network was very much robust in our state. And Odisha was generating more money through IT sector. And that time I used to always feeling very happy when Somnath Chatterjee was commenting, why Calcutta is not having this? Why West Bengal is not having it? And I remember when we met Chandrababu Naidu when he was the Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, undivided Andhra, a basic question was posed to him, that how come you are having IT sector industries in Hyderabad, whereas Bangalore has only 2, Wipro and Infosys? And why you are not setting up new academics to train your boys and girls? He said, I don't want to invest in institutions, academic institutions. I'm sending my boys and girls to Bangalore to study there and get employed in Hyderabad. That is how he was looking at certain challenges. Today, to cut my speech short, I would just mention here, Odisha is comfortable to a very great extent. average 45,000 to 50,000 crores of rupees is being generated from mining sector. And these are tangible. It won't continue for another 20 to 50 years. Where are we investing that fund? Are we investing it in development of infrastructure, which will give us more revenue in years to come? And here is a plan which the government has done, where money needs to be invested in infrastructure, where our boys and girls will get employment, where it will create better livelihood. I remember hearing my elders when they were describing what a city is. Cities should have a museum, cities should have a zoo, cities should have university, cities should have affordable medical support system, cities should have good transport system, and city also should have industries and also convention center. Of course, that word was not being used that time, an art gallery or something. So it caters to all aspects of life. And here, we should not think about Bhubaneswar, Cuttack, Paradip, Puri. We know what Kalinganagar is being developed now. I would request, undivided Cuttack should be part of this program. Means Kendrapada and Jajpur should also be included here. That will be the total circle. Some part of Nayagad also will be there, some part of Dhenkanal also will come into, because this is the area where rapid urbanization is going to take place. Think of another 10 to 15 years ahead. Land from Chandikhol to Paradip will all be acquired for urbanization. If not by the government, by the people themselves. They are already started building houses there. Industries will also come up. With that 8-lane corridor that is coming up, these are growth areas. And from Cuttack, Puri is 93 kilometers. From Cuttack, Paradip is 97 kilometers. From Cuttack, Kalinganagar is less than 80 kilometers. Onugul is less than 60 kilometers. And that is the reason why I have been always pleading before the state government and also before the union government. And I have gone to the topmost person of our central government saying that more than 5,000 acres of land is lying vacant in Chaudhar, which was at one point of time being utilized as aviation, whatever. Utilize that land, because you came in the morning, you must have seen the flight is full. We have 6 to 8 flights daily from New Delhi, every day. All flights are full. Yes, and that is the situation. And if this is the situation in 2026, what will happen in 2036? This airport is inside the city. Odisha government, of course, with central government support, is building another airport at Puri. But that is at one corner. I'm taking advantage of Sambit's absence. I'm not against it. But we need an air cargo hub at Charbatia in the eastern coast. Vizag airport also has limitations. There is no other airport. What is coming up at Amravati or Astarang, our Jagatsinghpur MP Vibhu mentioned about fishing harbor. But the idea of the state government, as far as I understand, is to have another circular road starting from Govindpur via Kandarpur and also connecting Astarang and comes back to the place where the NH16, where this road starts. So it will be circular road of the capital region. Keeping all this in mind, I would say this is a good beginning. And we should go ahead, and as I was saying, at the same time we have to preserve the nature. The sad part of Bhubaneswar has been all the springs have dried up. Not a single spring exists. That time we used to take credit that 9 springs were there in this capital. That's how Kedar Gauri water was the most healthy water to drink. But now it doesn't. Sewage is just flowing into Gangua and to the Daya river. My request would be, while we are developing the city, we also should keep the green cover. When you are planning for industries, we'll also try to keep those industries in such a way so that the human habitation will not get affected by that. Because these are certain things which the Western countries have always kept in mind. Whenever you go to any good city, they have greenery. And I used to joke with my friends in Cuttack, as per the population, when you have 35% of the population who are below age of 25, if one day they decide to come out on the streets, no other person can walk on that street. That is the situation. And how many fields do you have in a city like Cuttack, if we call it a city at all? We hardly have any open space there. At least when we are planning of a mega city, let us think of all those activities. I thank you, madam, for allowing me to say a few things, what I thought best. There is always a scope for addition, alteration, improvement, and I thank you all for patiently hearing me. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. We have noted all the suggestions, and certainly we also mentioned in the beginning, it's a dynamic document, and there will be a mechanism where some improvements would be continuously made, and as per the need of the state. Though we are late for the lunch, but I'm sure that the food for thoughts have been so nourishing, so I hope you will be able to sit for a few more minutes. Before going to the next session, I'll request our team to felicitate all the panelists who are on the dais. I'll request Arindam, Shatrughna, Saurendra, who are all there from team, they can quickly come and hand over the token of respect to our panelists. Thank you.
Thank you so much, esteemed ACS. Thank you, panel. What an insightful discussion that was. Can we have a round of applause for all the dignitaries for sharing their thoughts and ideas with us? Thank you, esteemed CEO Niti Aayog, with setting the context and starting the session. From there, I think, to esteemed chairperson, Honorable MP Cuttack, sharing the final notes of suggestions. That indeed was a lot of learning as to how we should proceed forward with BCPPER, transforming cities into development hubs. Definitely, we got a long way to go. Can we have a louder round of applause, please? Thank you, Honorable MP Jagat Singhpur, for those overwhelming words. Thank you, host team. These are small tokens of gratitude from the host team to remind the dignitaries that this day is so important for all of us, and every word spoken will be remembered and learned from. Love to have an official photograph of this absolutely successful technical session. Thank you, esteemed ACS, for driving us through this absolutely insightful session, and thank you, esteemed Director, Municipal Administration, for initiating the session and taking it forward.
Thank you so much. I'll request our team to see of the panelists. If they would like to join during the second session also, they are welcome, but it depends on their time and the constraint they have. We understand, sir. You can join for lunch here also or the state guest house. I think you have another engagement also, I believe, sir. Thank you so much from bottom of our heart, everyone. We certainly keep in touch and will be contacting you again. Thank you, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, without any further delay, we will be starting the next technical session. Now that we have great ideas on how to transform cities into growth hubs, the next technical session will give us million reasons why the thrust should be on port, industries, tourism, logistic, and sharing their thoughts with all of us. As panelists, we will see participation from esteemed Transport Commissioner Odisha, Shri Amitav Thakur, Senior Urban Specialist World Bank, Shri Abhijit Shankar Ray, Founder Director Urban Management Center, Manvita Baradi, Consultant Niti Ayog, Kaustav Srivastav, and Chief Resident Executive Tata Steel, Mohit Das. Can we request dignitaries to please join us on stage? And the session will be moderated by esteemed ACS, Shrimati Usha Padhi. I think with every technical session, the day is getting more and more insightful, informative, and we are all soaking in all the information, ideas, experiences, and suggestions that the dignitaries are giving us. So I'll request Director Municipal Administration to please take this session forward, as esteemed ACS will be joining us soon. So.
Thank you so much. I welcome all the panelists again to the second session. We have among us the Transport Commissioner of the Government of Odisha, Sri Amitav Thakur. He happens to be a very senior officer, and he has a vast experience of working in the field and also working from the headquarters, giving directions and also guiding the team. So welcome you, sir, and we really look forward to your contributions towards this plan so far as your experience for transit-oriented development is concerned. So we'll be glad to hear from you, sir. Next, we'll be also hearing from Sri Abhijit Shankar Roy, who is Senior Urban Specialist from the World Bank. We'll be glad to get his idea so far as our plan is concerned and how to save the future. Then, of course, Odisha is again not new to her, and she's also not very new to us. Ms. Manvita Baradi, who is the Founder Director of Urban Management Center. So welcome you again. And Sri Kaustav Srivastav, Consultant from the NITI, will be also glad to hear from you. Sri Mohit Das, who is from the Tata Steels, we also welcome him to the panel. I request ACS ma'am to kindly moderate the session.
A big thanks to Arindam, who is a man Friday. Whatever and whenever we require him, he will fill up the gap and try to help us in all the way. So now we'll start having a very quick panel. I think number is also dwindling, if you can see. So it is very quickly we can go ahead and discuss. Maybe we can start with, from my right side, we don't have any keynote as such now. So I'll request everybody to speak maybe 4 to 5 minutes about your views on BCPPR or how you will be able to see it in coming days. And then maybe we'll have a closing up round. Thank you so much. So over to Mr. Abhijit.
Thank you, ma'am. First of all, congratulations for the launch of the report. I think it's a very encouraging thing that so many cities in India and states in India are taking this step, and you are right in front. And we really hope that as you try to implement this, we would be able to partner with you and support you. Earlier, CEO Niti Aayog said that there are so many proposals which are investment ready. So we stand ready with our investment and hopefully help you work with you to cross the final line. I was intending to speak on tourism and cultural heritage, but probably, ma'am, what I'll do is I have 4 remarks based on what I have heard today and what I've read in this. I haven't seen the full report, so please excuse me if I'm missing something. When we talk about growth hubs, economic regions, the general tendency is to think about greenfield. And I just want to remark, and I'm sure it's a part of your approach as well, I just want to remark that it's equally important to look at what the existing cities are and how they can be revitalized to contribute to that economic growth. So even in terms of funding or financing the land value capture, which CEO Niti was also mentioning, it's very important to look at it. And I went through the list of projects which were identified, and please pardon my ignorance if some of them are redevelopment projects, but it seemed most of them are greenfield projects. So just a remark for you to consider as you progress. The second, ma'am, was very surprising, and again, apologies if in ignorance I'm saying this, but the importance of housing and the need to provide housing is probably not coming out as strongly as it might be. It's important because when we look at tourism, cultural heritage, or we look at industrial development, we're looking at a new knowledge hub coming up. All this will require different types of segmented types of rental, segmented types of ownership housing. So that's the second point. The third point, ma'am, it was very encouraging to see the proposal to set up the ERDA. And one, based on experience in other countries as well as in Tamil Nadu, where we are doing something similar, is the request to see whether a very specialized small professional unit can be set up within the ERDA, which focuses on private sector catalyzing. I'm saying this because I know nodal departments will implement various projects, you will come up with innovative financing structures. But having that skill set at the center, which can work at scale, because here we are not talking a small scale, it's a huge scale, would be, and especially when multi-sectoral approach has to be taken, I think it would be very important. So again, for your consideration, ma'am. And we all spoke about, the previous session speakers spoke about the economic plan already there. There's a comprehensive mobility plan which ADB colleagues mentioned that they're working with you. So that gives you, ma'am, the opportunity to look at an integrated economic land use and transportation plan, which we have very recently worked with the city of Chennai. So hopefully the third master plan will reflect. And given all the fundamental foundational work is done, I think it's very good. Again, from the tourism heritage perspective, this is important because if you take this integrated approach, then there are a number of interventions that you could have a long-term vision of, both from the economic perspective and land use. Very simple example, ma'am, I think most of us would be aware, the Marina Bay area of Singapore. 30 years ago, it was planned as a flood resilience measure, right? But when it was planned as a flood resilience measure, they had also planned that within the next 10 years, it would contribute to the water security of the city, and then within the next 5 years to the tourism potential of the city. And today we know it as a tourist area. So that is the kind of planning I think we need to go for. So I'll just maybe just run through the slides. I will not read through the slides, but tourism and cultural heritage is a compelling agenda. It has a strong employment multiplier, so I think it's very important. Next slide, please. Any tourism strategy requires skill development and strengthening the MSME ecosystem, which is at the core of the World Bank Group's approach to tourism and heritage. So I'm just flagging that. Next, please. When we look at tourism again, there are different, because it's a large region, so there are different locations which have different potentials. And understanding, planning, and then delivering to that is important. One would always want to start from 1 and go up to 4, which is looking at high value returns in terms of tourism and cultural heritage. But there is a curve that has to be crossed, and that requires careful planning and implementation. Next, please. I'm not going to run through all of these, but just highlighting 2 points. One is the importance of regional cluster development. The World Bank has been working in multiple countries, moving from single city or single location to regional cluster development. Albania, Armenia, some examples, I'll show you some photographs. And the success of this, of course, depends on accessibility, it depends on housing, it depends on many other services, which are going to come as part of your economic plan anyway. So that is something I wanted to highlight. Next, please. Next. Next. Yeah, sure. I'll share this now. Yes. Some of the examples of what we are doing across the world. Next, please. What I want to highlight is because we are part of this larger World Bank group, which includes IFC, which is our private sector arm. So the approach that within the World Bank that we have is in the tourism and cultural heritage as well as the larger urban development. For every 100 rupees that we are putting in, we should be able to leverage at least 300 to 350 rupees of private sector capital. I think that is the call which has been given by our president, who took over a couple of years ago. And that is what now we are doing in the state of Maharashtra, where we are looking at cities across the state, making sure there's a minimum of 3 times leverage in terms of getting the private capital in. And that, of course, requires a very careful look at what different cities have potentials, etc., etc. And that, ma'am, is something we'll be very happy to come and discuss with you and your team going ahead. Next, please. These are some examples. The previous one was on Indonesia. We have focused more on the job multiplier and the private capital. This is of the Pro-Poor Uttar Pradesh project, which looked at Agra, Braj, and some of the Buddhist circuits. Next, please. The Madagascar project, where the focus was more on ecologically based, ecological and environmental based tourism. Again, taking a regional cluster approach. Next, please. Albania, which is one of the more well-known projects, which led to a complete transformation of some of its 7 urban centers or tourist centers that were focused as part of the project. Next, please. This just shows some of the before-after photographs as well as the impact that it has had. Next, please. It's the same project, again, before and after, you can see the difference. Next, please. This is an ongoing project which again looks to leverage at least 2 to 3 times of private capital as part of the regional cluster development approach. So, ma'am, since we are short of time, I'm not going in details, but I'm sure I can come back, meet you, and follow up on some of these.
Thank you so much. You know that the president of World Bank was also here. So there have been a lot of things happening behind the screen. So something will come up, and maybe you will coming up with all those redevelopment and other projects and working with us, especially housing and redevelopment. Let us see. Okay, thank you so much. And now I'll request Mr. Mohit Das, Chief Resident Executive, Tata Steel, Odisha, I know him as a Tata man since many, many years. He has been working and being a friend of Odisha. I think a lot of CSR projects and all, I remember him supporting the administration very. Again, for paucity of time, I'll be really making you to speak very fast, 5 minutes, maybe you can keep your timers and go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for giving us the opportunity, and I'd like to congratulate you first, along with the Government of Odisha team, for making this BCPPER Economic Region Report on. It has been a great learning session for me in this convention. But coming from an industrial background, born and brought up in the state, born in Cuttack, groomed in Bhubaneswar, and worked in Kalinganagar for 20 years, gives me an entire gamut of what is happening in Odisha. So we come from a background where, ma'am, now that you have taken over charge of IDCO, which again Kalinganagar comes back. so that is what the notification says. So, ma'am, as you are aware, as Honorable Cuttack MP also showed, Kalinganagar is going to be the growth engine of the state of Odisha, where when Government of India is looking at 300 million tons of steel by 2030, and out of that 100 million tons will come from Odisha, and out of the 30 million tons will come from Kalinganagar. So that is why Kalinganagar is known as the steel hub of India, I would say. So currently in the Kalinganagar we have 11 million tons of capacity, and by 2030 we expect to reach there by around 30-35 million tons of capacity at Kalinganagar. So there is an approved project of Ministry of Commerce of Kalinganagar National Investment and Manufacturing Zone, which was approved in 2020 and supposed to get completed in 2035. So it expects an integrated industrial cum urban housing complex, and it talks about a small city of the urbanization of 10 lakh people. That is what it envisages and wants to get completed in 2035. But one of the major exciting figures which was given to us, Odisha 1.5 trillion economy, 60% urbanization, and 3 points, 3 pillars which Chief Secretary told: prosperity, wellness, and equity. What is the major thing today we are missing in Kalinganagar is the wellness part, the urbanization wellness. Today, in my 18 years of Kalinganagar in career, hardly I spend a night there. I come back to Bhubaneswar because the quality of life, the quality of urbanization, the quality of access to education, the quality of access to wellness spaces to reach. So what I've tried to find out, I would have tried to present if KNMZ can be developed as an integrated, as a hub and spoke model with the BCCPPER. It can become a spoke of BCCPPER, and you can look at all the economic corridor coming from KNMZ to Paradip and all the existing tourism locations. Let's say if my Japanese technical guys come, do they have access to Lalitgiri and Ratnagiri? Do they know that? Or let's say, do they have the access to Bhitarakanika National Park? Or let's say our existing temple tourism, Mahabreja Temple, or let's say the Ghadgaon Temple, how they link them as an integrated manner, so that a complex which houses around 10 lakh population by the year 2035 becomes an hub and spoke model for the BCPPER region. So that is my food for thought, and I request Government of Odisha to kindly have a look at it. That's all, ma'am, from my side.
Thank you for sharing your experience, and thanks also for saving some time. Thank you. Now I'll request Mrs. Manvita Baradi, and she has been a pillar of strength to the department and helping us in various inclusive initiatives, whether it is a FSSM management or whether it is about even heritage they are talking now. So I request her to share her thoughts on BCPPER and also working with Odisha, considering this as one of the major initiative. how you will be able to help us. Thank you.
Thanks, ma'am, and it's always been a pleasure to work in Odisha, being a very, very progressive state, and we've been engaged with ma'am and the urban team here since 2017 onwards, working on sanitation workers' safety, etc. This is a new topic, but not new topic for us, a new topic in our relationship when we are talking about heritage and planning. As Urban Management Center, a non-profit in this space for 25 plus years, and mostly biased towards urban. When people were not talking of urban, we are based out of Gujarat, so one thing is also we are much more urbanized as a state, but working with monuments, working with heritage, working with city planning as an embedded function within the local governments is a forte, and we would like to emphasize that that's how we should look at the regional planning which we've been talking about. So first, congratulations to Odisha, and way forward the way we would want to work with the state. Next, please. I'll maybe, as this region has a lot of potential, I'm not going into detail, but what I'm going to speak about is the tools required to, one, adhere to what has been spoken about, what the vision document speaks about, and what our MPs, MLAs have kind of put it to the department as a need to look at in much more detail. Next, please. I'll be focusing on the region as such, but what tangible and intangible heritage we have for the purposes of tourism, which will lead to economic development. So the region has a soul, I would say soul, identity, and the spirit, because it has a temple, it has the intangible heritage, and it also has the large economic port, which requires to go forward. If somebody can see my gesture so that I can speak, and next please, it will take time. So intangible heritage, the way performing arts in Odisha, it's not been spoken, but we need to look at, and in Gujarat, we've been a force as well as Performing Arts Institute, developed under the Urban Management Center. We're talking of theatre architecture, and Odisha has oldest caves, which were theatre, like Udaygiri caves. If people don't know about it, one should go and visit. Early on, a performing arts belt. These are intangible, tangible heritage we should also look at and talk about it next. I'll focus now on heritage management strategy for the urban growth here next. Looking at how to, a framework to even declare what is heritage is very critical to harness the economic value. We have come up with such models in the state and across the country. We're looking at how listing and grading of heritage structure would be one of the tools to achieve what we've been talking about, and we have some frameworks for that. Like for our work under Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs and working with the state government of Gujarat, we documented step wells, which are water structures, and the assets around it, and it has a whole framework of methodology of how to do it. These are tools your organizations can take it up. Urban, the heritage, which is urban heritage management plans for urban sectors, would also become very critical, which will give us ideas for mobility and climate change, which has been spoken about it. It should be an integrated document. Next, please. One has to look at, for instance, the way we've looked at Jodhpur city center and its rejuvenation. Such plans and all of the Odisha cities are so beautiful. We have to harness and have a process in making those plans to develop these. Under our Hriday program, which was Government of India's, we looked at Dwarika of Gujarat. And as you know, ma'am, we have a relationship between Puri and Dwarika as Lord Krishna in two differently looked at cities. And such planning documents become very important for decision makers to take things forward, looking at preparation of city plans with heritage embedded, not just monuments which could be just, like when we say monuments, it has an urban fabric around it, and we don't look at the fabric when we look at the monument. Next, please. So the development can happen, but people have to be looked at the center of the whole thing. One has to look at the Regulatory Act, which is the third point I'd like to make. Unfortunately, when we go to Cuttack, the kind of bylaws unfortunately don't exist, or maybe they're not implemented well. The buildings are so close to each other. There's water sanitation, ventilation, and all of these issues. One has to have a regulatory act with heritage management in perspective, and bylaws are the great tools for making that happen. Unless we do that, none of the economic planning which we're talking about it would be harnessed. Next. So looking at the fabric, again, bylaws are important. These are tools for us to be able to achieve what we can, and this has been, we've been able to do it in Dwarika with Sarkej Roja, and even the National Monument Authority have now accepted these bylaws for its future, and that has to be looked at, our monuments in the Bhubaneswar being the city of 1,000 temples and a great university of temple architecture. Next, please. Next. Urban renewal and placemaking. We come from Ahmedabad. Ahmedabad is the first UNESCO World Heritage City, and the kind of documents one has to come up with and then gets into implementation phase is just a snapshot of kind of studies which would be required to look at a city and the city fabric. Next. Along with that, the city could be divided into various zones, and how these zonal plans, which will give you a document for your development authorities and city departments to look at how one can integrate the monuments along with that, the other fabric. Next, and could have a toolkit of how contiguous development and the image of the city can be looked at. Next. Building on that, one has to look at how climate change and vulnerability would impact our cities to be able to garner more investment into it, and look at how such tools can be required and used to work with the city governments. The fifth point and the second last point is about strengthening governance structures. Ma'am, you mentioned in the morning, and a lot of deliberation on regional authorities, yes, required. Along with that, what would be the role of the city governments, which are statutory bodies, to be connected? Some deliberation need to happen. One can look at more committees of, say, like we have a Heritage Management Committee in various other states, and Gujarat has one. What kind of monitoring mechanisms one can look at? So a suggestion along with the PMU, etc. But looking at Heritage Committee, which will give guidance and direction based on what deliberations happen. Next. Heritage and tourism is a very complex subject. This is, it is cross departments, across ministries, and that you can't see it well, but the national, state, and the city governments are required, and there are a series of things to be achieved. If we create a roadmap of who does what, and this could be just a framework, we did it in Madhya Pradesh, but such an exercise can also be undertaken for Odisha, so that one can know for which aspect where to go, how to go, who to contact. So maybe this kind of an exercise could be a multi-agency existing governance structure which is complex, which could be simplified with your guidance and initiative. Next. And just a process simplification can also come up. Next. I think this is my last slide, but more questions we can take whenever we have time.
Thank you so much. Again, I'll remind that any delay, I fear that more people may go, so we'll expedite. Now over to Kaustubh Srivastav. I think entire document he has his hand to prepare. very briefly, because I think because of your involvement, it doesn't, I mean, you may require whole day to explain, but now with whatever gist you can just mention how you went through and what is the way forward you look up to. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Firstly, thank you ma'am, for this opportunity. And being part of this BCPPER plan has given a lot of insights. I think our whole team has learned a lot. So firstly, I would like to point out some key highlights, I would say. For example, how growth drivers are converging in these whole economic plan, from transport, education. These are multi-sectoral, as ma'am pointed out. Tourism is not just a one sector or one department project. So, and one major thing that BCPPR is positioned very well. For example, you have, this is also pointed out previously, that how Bhubaneswar is a service-based center, then Cuttack is an administrator, and same goes for Puri and Paradeep. They also have their own sectoral strengths. So, for example, transport, when we talk it from a tourism perspective, we gave a circuit-based approach. And so that tourists, when they are coming, they just don't go to one or two places and they have to go back. So they have a, probably from 1 or 2 days to probably 5 days, they can go around many places, and this has been done in a circuit-based approach. So again, transport plays a major part in this. And these projects needs to be designed in who are experiential in nature, and all of this will eventually lead to growing up the local economy. From manufacturing perspective, the focus there is not merely on adding capacity, but predictability, safety, last mile access, and this is in terms of transport I'm talking about. And obviously education plays a major role. We have given a lot of knowledge corridors. These are sector-specific corridors from manufacturing, tourism, and other growth drivers, chemical industry, textile. So all of these connects, and these colleges and whatever the institutions we have, they add on to it. And they've tried to integrate the academia, research, industry in a more cohesive way. Just to cut short, this economic plan moves forward as it moves from vision to implementation. Its success will depend not only on the identification of projects, which has already been done, but on how these projects are structured, sequenced, and integrated. The emphasis on allowing systems to evolve together, strengthening connectivity and institutions first, and progressively enabling more integrated and transformative outcomes. This approach ensures that BCPI growth remains coordinated, resilient, and aligned with its long-term aspirations. Thank you.
Thank you, Kaustubji. Now, I have kept the best at the end. Now I'll invite Amitabh Thakur. He has been my favorite colleague just 2 days before when I left the Commerce and Transport Department. He has done extremely good work in transportation, not only as a regulator, he's mostly a facilitator, I see. He has done few initiatives, so I'll request him focusing on urban transportation and then the last mile connectivity, your views, and considering BCPPR initiative. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. You did not have to add till 2 days ago, because it's always, I was going to address you as my boss, and it's always good to have your boss on your right side. Yes, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. So I'll be talking from the transport department's perspective. A lot of work has been done in this regard, and under the stewardship of Usha ma'am, and we had planned to do a lot more things. So it's good that she's there. She's steering this entire project of BCPPER. So as far as transport is concerned, I'm like, what do we look at? We look at some safe and assured transport. We look at the competitiveness. We also look at the predictability of deliverance of whatever is the intended, be it freight or passengers. So I mean, even though I have a presentation, but I would like to speak extempore just to make it short. As far as safety is concerned, I mean, like, I'll just narrate. I happened to meet two professors from Germany at the Utkal University yesterday. So one of them was sporting a very nice band on his right wrist. I asked him, why is that? So he said that, no, my wife gave it to me. And they have been coming to Odisha for the past 30 years, saying that there is always risk of accidents when you move on the road. So you take this band. And he's actually right, because in this region, like Khurda, under Khurda district, we have Bhubaneswar, Cuttack, and then parts of Jagat Singhpur, the Cuttack Paradeep Road or the Bhubaneswar, as far as Puri is concerned, the Bhubaneswar-Puri Road, they are very susceptible to accident. And as Mr. Mohit Das said that he would travel from Kalinganagar to Bhubaneswar every evening. So the pace of travel is taken care of, but the safety is not taken care of. So we have done a lot as far as the safety and assurance of travel is concerned. I mean, the steps that is being taken for construction of the ring road. So that will help us to take out the conflict between different kinds of vehicles on the road. We will also be able to segregate the goods traffic, because now we have the situation where National Highway passes through two of the most populous, I would not say cities, two of the most populous towns of Odisha. Now that is something not very, it's not very good. So once this ring road, the 3-tier ring road comes into being, we'll be able to take care of that. We'll be able to send the freight traffic, which will also help in reducing the time of travel. Then as far as logistics are concerned for freight transport, again, I'm like, Usha ma'am did this. We'll have a full-fledged logistic park, which will have multimodal facilities at Paradeep. I mean, inside the Paradeep Port Trust, a huge logistic park with parking facility for more than 1,500 trucks. We'll also have a railhead there, and then also connectivity with the inland waterways to Paradeep. So this takes care of most of your problems. Now we'll come to the cost factor. As far as the goods freight transport is concerned, I believe it's almost around 6.5 rupees per ton per kilometer, whereas the national average is roughly around half of that. Now, what is the solution that we are looking at? In this BCPPER region, we have many truck associations. We have individual truck owners also, and nobody talks with each other. So, ma'am had, in fact, she had floated the idea that let's bring them all together. Let's explain reason to them. Let's do something like has been done in Anand by Amul, I believe. So we have already taken many steps in that direction. We have brought 2-3 truck associations on the same platform. That also takes care of the many court cases that we keep fighting and the truck associations keep fighting. So this will help them pool in their resources, and then it also helps us in that the newer trucks are sent for long distance travels, and the older ones, they transport goods within the only for short distances. Then public transport, as somebody was mentioning in the previous session, that a lot of individual personal vehicles are being purchased in Odisha. So this is for the information of the House, that 70% of the total sales of vehicles in Odisha is of two-wheelers. Now, why is that? That's because the concentration of bus per lakh population is one of the least in Odisha. I mean, it's even lesser than as compared to Bihar and West Bengal, which are very populous states. We aren't a very populous state. So what are we doing about that? So this capital region, urban transport, Mukhyamantri Bus Seva. So all these are being introduced. We now are also catering for last mile connectivity. A couple of days ago, Honorable Union Home Minister announced the Bharat Taxi Service. For the information of everybody, we have a similar app, and Government of Odisha under Department of Housing and Urban Development has been doing the same thing in the name of Odisha Yatri. I would request all of you to book your travel on Odisha Yatri, where we are not charging any commission from the drivers, and we have already crossed 1 crore rides, and this has been done over a short span of time, and this is being now planned for not only multimodal transport, but you'll also have deliverance of services on this application. When, as ma'am said, that when we go abroad, even at places where you don't know the local language, all you need is a tourist information card where you can plan your travel, you know which mode of transport to take. So she said that we should have an app where while sitting at home, I should be able to book my travel from my home to, say, Jagannath Temple in Puri. I don't have to go to the, from my home to the nearest bus stop and then plan my travel. So all this is being done, and I'm sure the experts here will be able to add value to what is being done. Then comes the EV policy. We have one of the most robust electric vehicle policy. In EV policy 1, we had focused more on giving subsidies for purchase of electric vehicles. In EV policy 2, we have taken that many steps forward. We also have off-the-grid charging facility for the vehicles. Those are being used in the ports. We have not only increased the subsidy for private vehicles, we have also introduced subsidy for heavy commercial vehicles. And then to help them, we are setting up public charging stations all over the place. So within the next 1 year, all our highways will be green corridors. Then most of the important roads, including the road from Bhubaneswar to Cuttack to Paradeep and Bhubaneswar Puri, will be a complete green corridor. This helps us in lessening the emission, and this the region in the state, since we'll see many more vehicles in the coming few years. So our electric vehicle policy will definitely help in that regard. So, but this is some of the things that we have been doing, and looking forward to your suggestions and looking forward to continued guidance of my boss, who is always my boss. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That is so kind of you, Amitabh. But I am sure all the good works, he has a huge contribution. I will not open it for any questions because already it is 2:40. I should not testing your patience much. But as I said earlier in the beginning, you have the card. Please put your questions or suggestions. And believe we will certainly look into those things with much attention. And one of our team member can collect those cards also if you have written, and or you have collected? Yes, very good. That thumbs up. So now I'll request my team to come over on the dais and felicitate the panelist. And I'll request you to come and give the panel, souvenir, and also stand. I did not have a good photograph with any of our members. They are coming and going, doing all the hard work. Please, now we'll have an opportunity. With the panelists, we'll have a group photo also. So I'll request our urban team members to come on the dais and we can take a picture. Thank you so much. Thank you. And I'll request the souvenirs can come. Fast, fast. The souvenir which we have been giving to the panelists, it's a small jewelry made by Bonda tribals. of Malkangiri. So they are primitive tribes, what we call PVTGs, and they have made it under the skilled in Odisha. So they were trained and they are doing it, it can enhance their livelihood. So we thought what best can be their, souvenir when we can contribute to their livelihood as well as it is a masterpiece in your drawing room. Thank you. So we'll come in front of the table so that all of us can take the picture. Thank you. So anybody who is on the off the dais, my team members, please come. It is an opportunity for us to take a picture.